We're in downtown Toronto on Yonge and Davenport, and as you can see, I'm in front of a Masonic temple. But that's not all it is. Check this out. That's right, as you can see, this Masonic temple is actually MTV Studio. MTV Studios actually bought this Masonic temple to shoot programming in there. And this is just additional information to help you understand everything that we've been talking about in the videos, how they actually try to tap into this occult power so that they can influence our minds with this media. That's what's going on right here behind us at this MTV Studio building, which is nothing more than a Masonic temple. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. This thing is serious.
When they do the symbol, because a lot of in the media, I don't know if they're still doing that today in the land of the living, but I know what I experienced when I went down there. They call themselves the elites, and what it means is the elites of like the satanic kingdom, and they do this thing with all-seeing eye. As you notice, you know, in the past I had that all-seeing eye too, because I had to become one of them in order to come back and expose them, you see. So this wickedness, and for a while they try to keep me silent, but I'm like, wait a minute, you know, Satan's a liar because he just wants me to be silent, because if we keep living in today's world, the land of the living, and there's no justice anywhere, like where's the God of justice, right? It's because I kept silent all these years, but I'm not going to keep silent no more. But what goes on down there in Hollywood, I don't know if it's still going on today, because I don't want to accuse nobody, but what I saw, you know, I pray that everybody out there repents, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You know, and they have lots of sex, child trafficking rings, and they even have their own churches, but they're very satanic churches, and they do abominations. You know, they sodomize each other. I'm not going to get into details because it's so traumatizing to what I saw and experienced down there. But you know, the more power you have, the more fame you get, the more depraved things you have to do. So I don't know if they still do that today, like I said, but God our Father knows, God in heaven knows, the cloud of witnesses knows. So I pray, Heavenly Father, that if these things still go on out there, all over the world, all these elites, whatever they're trying to do like this, to be quiet, you know, that you will bring exposure to them and bring swift justice to the children's lives that were sacrificed, the children that are molested, because they often, you know, they were even like molesting 3-year-olds, and then they're asking me like, can we go even like lower, meaning like, can we have with a baby? And it was just so disgusting, guys. This is why I'm so traumatized, because like, oh, I can't believe, you know, it's very traumatizing. I can't even talk about it because it's so nasty. But you know, in the Illuminati world, Hollywood, if you're still doing that today, I pray that Lord Jesus Christ, Heavenly Father, that you apprehend these criminals and bring them to justice, the ones who sacrifice babies, rape children, even in the government realm, the government officials, you know. But I don't know about the land of the living, but I'm going to have to testify anyways, because this is what I saw. It's like this huge, massive, worldwide elites, they call themselves, and they molest children, they, you know, sacrifice. It's just nasty, guys. I can't even... But anyways, I gotta testify this so that there's truth and justice to be had in the land.
Megan
Yes,
Fox
drink
is
each
a
other's
demon.
blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled, where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul, let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
I love babies. Oh yeah, they love sucking babies. It's crazy. I mean, I do too though, because I have an iron deficiency, so it just tastes good. Like, do you guys like the taste of blood? Do you? Does anyone here like the taste of blood? Because I like it. I like the taste of blood.
You tell us the secret about Steven Spielberg. He eats babies. Whole babies.
and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul, and that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you. There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves.
My brother Jay-Z, Team Rock, Adam Blackstone, Hell's Kitchen, the Most High.
Good evening, godless sodomites. Kneel before your God, Babylon! Making me the highest paid megalomaniacal boy king in all of Babylon!
You see, if you go and visit the very home of the Oscars, where they hold it each year, you can see a plaque on the wall that says the Babylonian Forge. The camera shows you the stage, and you see an unmistakable Tower of David embedded into the ground. Outside of the Kodak Theater, you have the gates to Ishtar, and you have Babylonian gods put on the outside of the gate. They have the exact elephants. They have the same exact gate of Ishtar. They have the same exact Babylonian gods over the top of the gates.
Come up here, and they thank Jesus for this award. I want you to know that no one had less to do with this award than Jesus.
I'm thankful to the Oscar gods.
The other names are all gods as far as the category goes.
When you get this little golden statue, you become a star. In the Egyptian culture, they also had a little statue that represented the god Ptah. And see, when an Egyptian king died, it was believed that his spirit went into the belt of Orion, and he then became a star. Up until 1999, the Oscars was held at a building called the Shrine, which was founded by William Florence and Walter Fleming, two high-ranking Scottish Rite Freemasons. Hollywood has long been interested in Freemasonry. Gene Autry, John Wayne, Nat King Cole, Duke Ellington, C.C. DeMille, Bud Gable, Walt Disney, Oliver Hardy, you name it, the list goes on. Many celebrities have come out and admitted their connection to Freemasonry. You can see the checkered floor, you can see the archways, you can see the sun motif in the background. All of these are letting you know exactly who owns this organization.
We are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight, the babies we eat.
People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Roman Pharaoh. He's coming for it. He's coming for it. Talking of all you, it was a big year for our movies. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. Fifth time, and it's still more fun than this. Okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, the opportunity didn't sell, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care. Next was a star in Netflix's Bird Box, a movie where people survive by acting like they don't see a thing. Sort of like Working Class Harvey Weinstein. You did it! I didn't, you did it!
And the kids were not always enthusiastic about the food that they were being served. So they were always trying to call for pizzas. And you can't order a pizza plate.
How was the pizza? Was it good? What do you think? Pizza was better than food. Everybody made it for a certain kind of thing.
There's no pizza if we didn't want something.
Come fucking
back at his house, watch a movie, and he'd order a load of pizzas. You know.
Gerald Ford is not a pedophile per se. He's what I refer to as trisexual. He'll try anything. Any age, anybody, anytime, anywhere, just as long as he had control. Because he had a perversion of power, in addition to his interest in mind control. Therefore, it was Gerald Ford who came out to our house and explained to my father how to raise me in the project according to government specifications. My father had been caught sending this child pornography through the U.S. mails, and therefore he was approached and told that if he sold me into that project, that he would gain immunity from prosecution. My father remains free from prosecution to date for so-called reasons of national security. Once my father agreed to sell me into the project, I was taken routinely to Mackinac Island, Michigan, which is a political retreat where the Michigan governor's mansion is located. It was a bohemian grove of sorts where politicians met and discussed New World Order controls, where they discussed mind control of the masses, mind control in the school systems, how to use occultism as a trauma base. One of my sexual abusers at that time was the Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau is a professed Jesuit. Now, the Jesuits are an intelligence arm of the Catholic Church. Pierre Trudeau represented this criminal faction of the Catholic Church, of the Jesuits, who believed in mind control of the masses because they wanted to be the one world church in the New World Order.
Sure. We happen to have someone who sent us Monica Lewinsky's poem that she wrote in 9th grade. Actually, not in 9th grade, when she was a 9-year-old. And I know I'm going to rot in hell eternally for this, but can I maybe just give it a sample?
Yeah, give a sample.
Okay. It was written, the poem is a poignant rumination on how, quote, I can be a delicious lunch, dinner, or breakfast, if you're weird. She goes on to describe herself, quote, as a round and flat piece of dough with lots of toppings. I am a mouth's best friend. I make you say, yum, yum. It's amazing how kids know at a young age what they're going to do with them.
Christ did not die for Lucifer. He did not cover Lucifer. And there's a hatred for the offspring, enmity with God. There's a hatred that our sons and daughters could choose Jesus and be adopted back to the table which Lucifer once sat at.
I don't know how long I'm gonna be standing, but I'm gonna be standing. I like to stand, but we'll see how long I can stand standing. Gonna react to the internet today, and it's gonna be a complete disaster. 'Cause everything is falling apart all around the world. It's the end. The end is nigh. I don't think so. I don't think it actually is. Okay. I need to like get some music or something going whenever it's at the beginning part like this, whenever I'm trying to do stuff. You know? Okay. I got a whole bunch of videos lined up. Probably not even gonna get into X. Ain't got time.
30 years ago, Kurt Cobain's passing was...
So apparently, Kurt Cobain didn't end his life this entire time. We were wrong. Or right, or something. I don't know. Another conspiracy theory just coming true. At this point, I'm just going to become a flat earther. Like, if it's coming down to this.
30 years ago, Kurt Cobain's passing was ruled to be self-inflicted, but now forensic experts are saying, hey, this might have all been staged.
More than three decades after his death shocked the music world, questions are once again swirling around the final hours of Kurt Cobain. Nirvana's lead singer was found dead April 5th, 1994, inside of a greenhouse above his Seattle garage. And Seattle police, they closed the case after the King County medical examiner ruled it suicide, setting a
I always thought it was like in his attic.
Inflicted gunshot wound, shotgun wound to be even more specific. So why am I talking about it now? Well, an unofficial private team of forensic scientists says the evidence tells a very different story.
And I mean, this case has been closed for longer than I've been alive. But in April of 1994, Kurt Cobain was found unresponsive.
People still investigate it from time to time. And a lot of people, they're like, it's all bullshit. And a lot of people, they'll come to the conclusion that it must have been foul play. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Responsive in his Seattle home. A firearm injury was discovered and authorities ruled it a self-inflicted one. A note was then found nearby and toxicology reports showed high levels of substances in his system. And again, the King County medical examiner determined the manner of death was self-inflicted. And the Seattle Police Department agreed. Case closed seemingly, and that was the end of it, or so we thought at least. And look, I am no conspiracy channel, but recently there have been official news reports about a new independent forensic review of this case. And some of the claims made are...
Yeah, I was seeing that. I was seeing it everywhere. Like on every platform, major news headlines were talking about it. That was a perfect place to pause. I'm sorry, Atozi.
Strange enough where I felt like I should probably cover this. So today we're going to be going through what's being claimed and what the authorities are saying in response. Typically, I start by explaining, who the person we're talking about today is, but most people know who Kurt Cobain was.
I had that poster. This right here. I had the poster.
Lead singer of Nirvana and an absolute musical genius.
That was MTV Unplugged, I'm pretty sure.
Back in 1994, Cobain had been struggling, and we know he had chronic pain and depression. Just weeks earlier, there had been a serious medical incident overseas, and police previously removed firearms from his home after concerns of his own safety. And the medical incident we're talking about involved Cobain taking an OD-level amount of substances before being found by his wife, Courtney. Then a few weeks later, Courtney called the police to say that Cobain was locking himself in his room with a firearm. But when police arrived, he said he was actually trying to avoid his wife. And again, both of these scenes happened just the month before he passed.
That's
and I'm
crazy.
mentioning them because they've been used as proof
I
that
didn't know
Cobain was
that.
leading up to his passing. But they've also been used as proof that not everything was good in his home life. So on April 8th, an electrician installing security lighting discovered him in a room above the garage at his Lake Washington Boulevard home. At first, he thought that Cobain was asleep. Then he realized something was seriously wrong. Authorities later determined he likely passed away around April 5th. And a handwritten note addressed to his childhood imaginary friend was discovered nearby. And officially, the case was classified as a self-inflicted passing. But back then, not everyone accepted that. And that was partly due to the mess that happened in the week leading up to his passing. Because for 6 days in April 1994, Kurt Cobain was missing. One of the biggest rock stars in the world was essentially completely off the radar. Police were looking for him, his wife was looking for him, and she even hired a private investigator. But on April 1st, he called Love from Los Angeles. And
they were looking for him. Private investigator didn't think to look in the area above the greenhouse. It's weird to me.
Later told Seattle newspaper, he said, "Courtney, no matter what happens, I want you to know you made a really good record." And according to Courtney, that was the last time they ever spoke. He then flew back to Seattle, and on a flight, he happened to sit right next to the Guns N' Roses bassist Duff McKagan. McKagan then later said that he felt something was off. And quote, "All of my instincts told me something was wrong." After learning he left his treatment, Love canceled his credit cards and hired a private investigator, Tom Grant, to track him down. Meanwhile, Cobain was reportedly seen around Seattle on April 2nd and April 3rd. On April 4th, his mother filed a missing persons report, telling police that she feared he might harm himself. And according to the police timeline, on April 5th, he returned to his home and went into the greenhouse above his garage. He then wrote a note, he left his wallet open, possibly for identification, and then sometime around that day, he passed away. He wouldn't be discovered for 3 more days though. And
I don't see the incentive for Courtney Love to, you know, blast away at Kurt Cobain. If it was for money, it definitely wasn't, because you roll out the fact that he's possibly going to make more money being alive.
Almost immediately, questions started popping up. A local journalist then started doing public access segments, suggesting the case
It was Israel. I knew it.
Didn't make sense, with one of the main points being there just wasn't enough blood on the scene. A private investigator later said that he believed there were inconsistencies in the timeline and in the evidence. Documentaries were then made and books were then written, but by the late 90s, the story had turned into a full-blown cultural debate. Then you had a documentary created called Kurt and Courtney, which then
I remember watching that, but I don't remember anything about it.
Explored the theory. Then in 2014, on the 20th anniversary, Seattle police reviewed the case again. They developed rolls of film that hadn't been processed back in 1994. They re-examined the scene photos, and once again, they reaffirmed the original conclusion. Officially, nothing changed. But here's the thing, the conspiracy never really went away. And now, in 2026, it's back. Because a new independent forensic team...
I don't think it's ever going to go away. It's kind of just a fun conspiracy theory to talk about, whether it be true or not.
Says they've looked at the same materials and reached a very different conclusion. And this is where it starts getting weird again. So here's what's different this time. In early 2026, multiple news outlets reported that an independent research team had taken another look at the case. And I know, I'm talking about a private forensic group, but these are peer-reviewed, published findings, meaning a whole bunch of smart people who specialize in this kind of thing looked at it and gave it 2 thumbs up. So it seems short-sighted to just dismiss this. They reviewed crime scene photos, autopsy findings, and toxicology records. And after doing that, they claim the evidence fits a staged scene. Not a self-inflicted one, a staged one. That's a massive claim. To put it lightly, Michelle Wilkins, one of the researchers, said that the forensic specialist Brian Burnett reviewed the materials for several days and concluded the death was more consistent with homicide. That is massive. So here's what they're arguing. They claim the amount of substances in his system would have left him physically incapacitated. We're talking like 20x the OD limit, so...
I don't know, man. Those heroin addicts, they can go hard. A lot of times they'll go straight into fentanyl because heroin's not enough anymore.
That tracks. And according to their argument, someone in that condition would struggle to coordinate movement, let alone operate a firearm. Wilkins says that Cobain would have been in a near comatose state and barely able to breathe. Secondly, they point to what
He'd be in a near comatose state.
Describe as oxygen-related organ damage. They argue that certain signs of the autopsy are more consistent with someone who stopped breathing due to substances rather than someone who died instantly from a firearm injury. And then they point to the scene. They describe it eerily clean. They question why his hand, which was found wrapped around the part of the firearm, didn't show any kind of visible blood splatter as they expected. Wilkins said, in quote, "There is no universe where that hand is not covered in blood." They also questioned the organization of the substance kit found nearby, saying it looked way too neatly arranged. Their argument is essentially someone under extreme physical duress would not carefully cap needles and put equipment away. They then argued that
So she jabbed him with a needle and then kablam!
Portion reads like someone expressing frustration about music and fame. Then they claim the final lines appear visually different, larger, more rushed handwriting and suggests that this could indicate tampering. And I mean, that is interesting because it seems like they're implying he wrote the letter about leaving
Yeah,
music.
it seems like it is a lot of implication though, and that's the problem. Even, you know, either which way.
Behind and someone else added onto it. So, not gonna lie here, this looks weird. Looking at this note, I see what they mean. Suddenly, the writing gets really big and it looks a little different. But the team says they asked for the case to be reopened and authorities have responded. So the Seattle Police Department says the death was ruled self-inflicted and that remains their position. So the King County Medical Examiner's Office said they are open to reviewing new evidence, but they've seen nothing that would warrant reopening the case.
Really, they should have ruled it inconclusive or
So,
something
now
like
we have
that.
two positions. The findings
With,
here are
with strong conviction that this was the case, that it was self-inflicted. It's really what it should be.
reanalysis of
something.
existing stuff that have been reviewed before. Sadly, without a new piece of evidence, they might not just be able to get the case reopened. The other side is the Seattle Police Department has had requests for this case to be reopened since the conclusion of it 30 years ago. The conspiracy side of the story has been around for almost as long as the official ruling, but a team of experts publishing a peer-reviewed analysis is still a lot more solid than 3 decades of conspiracy theories. But a lot of the stuff in the new report matches with a whole bunch of the theories that I mentioned earlier. Like,
I have a theory. How connected was Kurt Cobain to Israel?
the public access host who said the police reports just didn't line up. He claimed there wasn't enough visible blood for what had happened, which is pretty similar to what the recent analysis said. Then you have Tom Grant, a private investigator who had been officially hired by Courtney Love during the chaos before Cobain's passing. And afterward, he publicly said that he believed the crime scene was staged, and his arguments focused on a few big things that are, once again, also in the official report. He questioned whether someone with that level of substances in their system could physically coordinate pulling a trigger, and he also questioned the lack of clear fingerprints on certain items. Tom Grant was also the guy who pointed to the things like tour money and industry contracts as financial motives. Then there's the documentaries. Nick Broomfield's film, Kurt and Courtney explored the murder theory in the late 90s. That film mentions one of the most popular theories, that Courtney Love orchestrated everything. And I mean, it could make sense that people thought that she had something to do with it, because especially during this time, they were always in the news for their music, but also their relationship issues.
Reports of frequent heated arguments surfaced, some escalating to physical altercations. On March 18th, police were called to their home in Seattle after an explosive fight. Cobain had locked himself in a room with a gun, threatening to take his own life. Officers managed to de-escalate the situation and seized several firearms from the house.
Even their daughter, Frances, once said, "I always knew their relationship was toxic.
Yeah.
I don't promote having a fix-it baby," which is what I was, to fix their problems. That is so sad for a kid to say. But there are a lot of theories as to why she would. Some people think that, she was the handler. Others point to the fact that she gained his estate after he passed. But it is also very important to mention that Courtney Love did sign over the estate to Kurt's daughter, Frances, in 2012. But as of February 2026, his passing...
Yeah, that one I don't get. She murdered him for the money, because the amount of money that they were going to make was way more than what they had at the time. And they were just living in that house, They weren't living in a giant mansion, which was coming if he would have stayed living.
Remains officially classified as self-inflicted. So whether this new report changes anything in the future, we don't know. And look, did Kurt Cobain openly have issues with depression and substances? Absolutely, yes. But I don't think that means that we should just ignore details that look very weird. And again, in this video, we are absolutely not accusing anyone of any...
Well, that's what commentary videos are for, is to keep talking about this dumb bullshit, and maybe something will come out of it. Yeah, Atozi. Awesome. I have this bookmark. I figured out a new system. Oh. Maybe it's not as good as... Oh, I got it. Yeah. That way I can keep up with them, so I can put them in the description. So, Nick Shirley released a new video. I'm going to go ahead and like it. Investigating California's voter fraud. This one's going to be crazy.
We're just looking for these individuals as they're registered to vote here. John Thomas and Philip Thomas.
Is Gloria here by chance?
I love this music,
Because
though.
she's 100 years old and she voted last election from here.
Can you see my? I said I want.
I just want to make sure you're not 126 years old.
No, I'm not.
And do you think it's possible, like, illegal migrants could be voting?
Do you know where the ballots might have gone? Like for 108 people, that were registered here?
When it comes to fraud, most people think about money. However, there's another potential massive fraud story taking place in America.
Power.
One tied to the most consequential system in our country, which is our voting system. This has to do with everything about who runs the country and how
Exactly.
elections are actually controlled. And if we don't have voter integrity...
And we've known this for so long. We've been saying it. Nobody listened. This is like every conspiracy theory that's coming true right now. Nobody listened. Said we were crazy, and then it all comes true. There's still people saying that we're all crazy, even though it's like all of it's out in front of us right now.
What even are we? And there's one state that is the breeding ground for potential voting fraud, and that is California, where it can take up to 1 month to count all the votes. No
Not
voter
California.
ID, and millions of ballots are cast by mail. And with voter rolls that are extremely vulnerable to errors, such as over 200 people.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is that there's fraud happening in New York. Oh no!
Who are over the age of 125 years old registered to vote in certain areas. And now to see how easy it is to vote, I headed to the location to register to vote inside the state of California. Now this is the register of voters right here. And I want to ask him, why don't you need voter ID to vote here inside of California? I was curious, how come in California you don't need voter ID to vote?
Because when you sign your affidavit, you're swearing that you're telling us the truth, and we compare the signature.
So it's an honor system. Okay. That's sure to work. Yeah, people will tell the truth.
That you put on your application.
Battery 65%.
Do you think it leaves any room for error with voter ID, or? Yeah, I'm just like curious because I want to make sure that like our elections are as fair and honest as possible, and I feel like voter ID is just something super simple to have. And do you think it's possible like illegal migrants could be voting?
Not really. How? I mean, what's showing their ID?
Yeah, if they don't have their ID and they could just sign on behalf of Richard Sherman, then they could technically vote, right?
She's so confused. She's not used to being asked questions. She's used to just doing the job, doing the thing that on the computer. She doesn't actually know how computers work. She just knows how the thing on the computer kind of works and what she's supposed to do. And she doesn't know anything outside of that.
Yeah, but what if they just don't care? What if like Richard Sherman and Billy Bob Joe just don't care?
I don't know. If they don't care, I don't know. What are we gonna do about it?
But so you don't think illegals would ever vote, would you?
No.
I don't think so.
No. They wouldn't.
So instead of showing your
This shit's crazy, dude.
ID, you sign your signature and then it is scanned to verify it is you. So technically speaking, anyone could show up saying they are someone, and if the signature is similar, that vote will then count. And with millions of people voting, it leaves room for fraud to occur. Just take these two examples.
A Southern California woman is facing 5 felonies after registering her dog to vote in 2 elections. The dog's vote was even counted in one of those elections. Those behind the...
Okay, I could get on board with that. But I think we should only let dogs vote. Don't let people vote. Only let dogs vote. Just put them out in front, put paint on their paws, whichever one they paint over first, that's the vote.
Stunt say she did it to show the flaws of the current system.
Hundreds of people who cast votes according to state records, but we found they've been dead for years, including a woman who died in 1988, and records show she somehow voted in 2014.
I knew it. They're growing zombies over there in Cali.
26 years after she passed away. Then there's Julissa
The zombies are voting. What's this world come
she
to?
voted in Norwalk in 2014, 2012, 2010, and 2008. The only problem is she's buried here at Forest Lawn. Abutin died in 2006. Is it possible your mother voted in 2014?
There's no way.
Abutin's daughter Maravik says it's certainly impossible that her mother voted, but the LA County Registrar confirms they have signed vote-by-mail envelopes with her mother's name for the 2014 and 2012 election, even though she died.
Why would you even manipulate that system? It's so dishonorable.
10 years ago.
So it's not some crazy conspiracy theory to think that people are illegally voting inside the state of California. And with the state receiving
I wasn't making fun of the Asian lady, by the way.
millions of illegal migrants, the opportunities
Bad
for fraud
timing.
now are even higher as millions of undocumented people are living inside of the state. Now let's go meet up with a man by the name of Urson who has dedicated years of his life digging through voter
What kind of
rolls,
name is
finding
Urson?
fraud and inconsistencies throughout the state.
So how bad is the voter fraud here in California?
Oh, it's bad.
We actually don't know because law enforcement isn't
That's
really
pretty bad.
investigating it, and we don't have people qualified to actually figure that out.
And what kind of fraud is taking place?
Well, we have voter rolls of about 22 to 23 million people in California, and we have just in Orange County, per se, there's 60 to 70,000 changes a month that happens. So the amount of time and effort to go and follow up with every one of those, we just don't have the resources to do that.
And so what information have you been collecting about the voting fraud here in California?
We have people that are still in our rolls from 2008 that are still getting ballots mailed to them that haven't voted in 18, 16 years.
And so they haven't voted. What's the problem with them receiving those?
I might be voting. I've never actually thought about that. I mean, I don't really care, but I might be voting because I don't vote. Somebody could be voting on my behalf.
Ballot. Well, sometimes there's votes that happen later on with someone that hasn't lived here for 12 years. And we found several occurrences of that. When we turn that in, those are treated as independent incidences that don't affect the outcome of the election. So they're highly disregarded from our concerns as voters.
And what information do we have right here?
Well, we got several different pieces that
Don't
we're
count
looking
the
at
outliers.
today. One thing that's just a
That's
simple
smart.
anomaly for people to understand is there's people that show to be 125 years old in our voter rolls. And that's a simple data flaw, but the issue is it keeps happening over and over again to the tune of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in every county. That's a large size like where we're at today.
Hundreds and hundreds of old people who should be dead voting. That's not that bad. But then you have to account for all of the other voter fraud that's happening. Then it starts to add up. It starts to stack and get pretty fucking bad. It's just a huge debuff on the country.
Hey, another one is we have a lot of voters that are at central locations, 10, 12, 15 people at a place where what is this business? What is it doing? These people are still going to continue to get ballots. Another one is like a lot of the sororities and the dorm houses, where we have typical turnout, or voter turnout is like in the 50 to 70% range, but it's like 106 out of 108 votes cast. So it doesn't mean that that's fraud, but it means these are out of the normal order of what happens. And so that's what we're going to be going around and looking at today and seeing what's out there and what we can find. We have a system where you can register to vote in California without a driver's license number or social security number. Why do we allow that? That creates 9.6 million records that then the state has to send to the Social Security Administration. And when 75% of those come back with no matching Social Security record, it should make every California wonder, why do we have a system like that? Why do we have a system that's creating work?
It seems like every single system that the government operates is just completely fucked up, which I already knew that. But it's just crazy hearing it and how fucked up it is. I've known it my entire life. I've just known that the government is just retarded and literally can't do anything right. Like, you might get little, nuggets of cool. Like, America is probably the best country. Maybe not anymore. I don't know. Been hearing some good things about some other countries. Especially some secret hidden places in some countries that sound enticing.
And uncertainty.
And so what have you done to get this information about the voter fraud that's taking place here in California?
Well, we get our information from the Secretary of State. We get it directly from them. It's a lot of information and it's very complex. And so we get this from the state, we package it up, and we help with our other researchers across the state that go and break it down into their own counties.
So we have all this information, and now we're going to go head out into the streets of California and see what fraud we can find.
Where's the first place we're going?
We're going to the local retirement community, and the reason this one is just kind of particularly
Okay. So it's like with the Minnesota guy, but just a different guy. I like this. I like this kind of video.
You got 45 people registered, and 41 of them actually turned out to vote in the last election. So that's just, again, not typical for 55 to 70% turnout. So it's a mental crisis senior, rehabilitation center. So we're just going to go there and see, is there 45 people there? Is there beds? And check it out. Can we speak to the supervisor?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, it looks like there was maybe 41 of 45 people that are registered here. Does that seem low or high to you? Like as far as how many patients or residents you have?
That's probably not accurate anymore.
So that lady right there said that that's probably not accurate.
Right.
That lady's
so this
very
could be
helpful.
a huge location where hundreds of votes could be casted from this one location. She said that numbers sound like they're inaccurate, 41 out of 45.
Correct. So is there a lot more people that could be registered to vote and could be having their voices expressed?
Well, let's move on to the next location.
You got it.
Now we're here in the University of San Diego because they got lots of voters here, but what's the deal with this location?
It's some sort of institute for peace and justice, so it doesn't seem like you'd have a lot of voters like registered at some sort of an administrative office, but it very well could be. I mean, there's students that are all over.
That sounds like a leftist organization that does nothing. It sounds like a shell government operation.
Place here, so maybe it's some sort of a central mailing house or something like that.
You have a conference room, you have Garden of the Sky, the Kroc School, classrooms, conference rooms, anything but dorms. And this is the location where 58 people are registered to vote here inside of the state of California.
Is this like a central mailing location, like this building for students and stuff?
No, this one is not. So we do have a mail center.
Because right here on the John B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice, it says we had 58 registered to vote, and 50 people voted from this location.
So is 5998 Alcala Park? You're saying
is the entire university.
Is the entire university. So where do the ballots go?
I have no clue.
Okay.
I've never seen them.
So far, we're 0 for 2 as far as getting any clarity about where these votes are being cast from here.
Yeah, or any sort of real clarity.
And at these locations, when there's only around 40 to 50 people registered to vote, in locations where there's hundreds and thousands of people,
I don't know, man. I think you're going to have to keep a watchful eye whenever the voting actually happens. Catch them in the act.
Leaves lots of room for speculations, especially when nobody actually knows what the real count is and where the votes are being casted from. And just a reminder, all this information from Urson is the most up-to-date information from the Secretary of State of California as far as the voter rolls go. The fraud continues. Now we're outside of a extra space, a storage unit location. Here, 5 people are registered to vote.
Correct.
Did they cast their votes?
3 of them did in the 24 election, then we had 1 that cast a ballot in the 2020 election and 1 that's never voted. The point is that unless this is a primary residence, right, or where you can sleep, right, which no one's supposed to by law allowed to sleep in their public storage unit, then this is not a legal registration. And,
That's what I was
these are the
thinking.
things that the county continues to let slip through the cracks.
Let's see if they're here. We have the names of all 5 people. Let's see if they're here. How's it going, sir?
How are you doing today?
Good. We're just looking for a few people here. We have Lily Morey, Philip Thomas, Sydney Thomas, Robert Thomas. We're just looking for these individuals as they're registered to vote here.
Do you have people that live here at Extra Space?
Are you Robert Thomas?
Oh, okay. Okay, so who gave you this list real quick?
Oh, from the Secretary of State.
Yeah, it's publicly available information.
What about Robert, Sydney, Philip,
he
and
being
Lily
called out.
Thomas? What about them? Do they also get their ballots here?
Who?
Robert Thomas, Sydney Thomas, John Thomas, and Philip
Give me a
Thomas.
second.
Do you know where any of those individuals are? Any of the Thomases?
No, they're not here right now.
There's no one living in storage facilities, right? That's
No,
really
right?
the question, right? Just wondering if people are actually living in storage facilities or not.
So 5 people are registered to vote here. They confirm that nobody lives here
a little fishy. California's got some weird
Yeah,
things going.
these people, they're not prepared for questions like this. They're very confused. They don't know what's going on. And if they are committing fraud, they probably don't know what's going on at the top.
On, so 5 people, and they didn't know where any of the Thomases were, but this is their primary location.
Well, if those 2 people actually live here and this is where they stay, their primary residence, right? They get their driver's license here, their tax stuff comes here, it's completely legal. But the other people that are here that they didn't know or do know or so forth, right? Are they someone that was just getting something in a storage facility? So.
But this is a storage facility. There's no apartments here.
No.
Nobody's living here.
Not inside the storage facilities. But if the couple that we spoke to is actually, this is their primary residence, that would be legal under state law.
But for these 5 people that are registered and that cast their votes.
And if it's not them, then no, those are not legal.
Those are illegal votes. And so that right there is 5 potentially fraudulent votes in one location inside of a storage unit. This is super important to understand before we go to the next location. In California, when you register to vote, you must put your domicile location, which is your primary residency. You can then put a different address.
Yeah, I mean, there could be 5 people voting there. I mean, like living there.
To receive your mail, but for it to be on the voter registration form and for the voter rolls, it must be your domicile address, your primary address. Now we're going to start going to some of these locations where people have put their primary addresses as P.O. boxes. In locations like the one we're about to go to, over 30 people are registered to vote at this one UPS store. With this fraud, a lot of these people registered to vote have their primary residency.
I don't know how much of this is actual fraud and how much is just like incompetency.
A UPS store or a United States Postal Service location. Right here we have over 30 people who are registered to vote, and all these people right here, there's over 30 of them, are registered to vote, and this is their location, and a large majority of them actually voted in the 2024 election against Trump and Joe Biden. And right here we have Gloria. Gloria voted in the last election. She's 100 years old.
Yeah, born in 1925, still kicking.
What do you think about over 30 people are registered to vote in this UPS store right here? Is that a little strange to you?
That's crazy.
Is it through P.O. boxes?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you trying to do, or what are you trying to prove?
Yeah, so
well, so you have to be registered where you live, right? Where your primary residence is. And so if you've got a primary residence that's a UPS store, there's a real tiny houses, you know, inside the UPS store for people to live in.
Probably. What's your guys' affiliation?
My name's Nick
citizens.
Shirley.
Yeah.
I think you have to register your actual address, don't you? Can you do your P.O. box? I'm gonna check that.
Could you live inside a P.O. box?
No.
So do you think it's a little strange that here in California you have lots of people who are registered to vote from these P.O. boxes, meanwhile you don't even have to show your ID when you go and vote?
I don't want to be part of the whole MAGA storyline. Thank you.
This isn't a MAGA storyline, man. This is just the straight up facts. Now we're going in.
Oh,
How you
she
guys doing?
works there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we talk to somebody?
No.
This is super important.
Can you step outside?
It has to do with our elections here, ma'am.
Okay, outside.
Can someone come and talk to us?
Is Gloria here
Very
by chance?
suspicious. You're not fighting the fraud claims by freaking out like that.
Because she's 100 years old and she voted last election from here. All right, so they won't even speak to us.
This
you know
place,
Gloria, she's 100 years
1000%.
old. She voted last election here. She's supposed to live in one of these P.O. boxes.
Well, no, I have no idea.
A little strange, right? Sir, have you ever met like a Gloria or anything? She's supposed to live in one of these P.O. boxes. She voted.
No.
No. No idea. And another thing that's super concerning about all this fraud taking place is right now the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, is also leading the way on Poly Market as to who's going to be the Democrat nominee in 2028. What do you think it says about states that don't require people to have voter ID?
It's like inconsistent, so people can kind of like tweak it however they want. So I don't know, I don't trust it, that's why.
No, you cannot use a P.O. box as your voting residence address. Election officials require a physical street address where you actually live to determine your correct voting district and ballot. Well, there you go. I'm going to ask, what about in California specifically? How about that? Cannot use a P.O. box as your residential address for voter registration. How about that? You can look it up yourself.
Should states require people to show voter ID when they go and vote?
100%. Like I think people should be verified that that's them voting and that's like them as a person. Like that needs to be like a face-to-face action. If they can't, there needs to be another way of verification.
And what makes you think that way? A lot of people don't think that way about voter ID.
I don't know. I think it's just like a common sense thing. Like it should be you that's voting and like your vote that's going through. So it's not just like anybody.
I don't even think everybody should be allowed to vote.
You think people would pass you off for Ralph Salcido if you just said you're Ralph Salcido?
No. Like if I said that to me, they'd be like, really? If I walked up and like I said, oh yeah, I'm 100 years old, they'd be like, what? You can't like fake age. So
this building here in downtown San Diego.
Also, you think a 100-year-old person really knows what's going on in the world enough to vote, or is even capable of getting up and voting? Oh, well, you got the mail-in ballots, but that's not what was happening apparently. I don't even know. Maybe it was, but you can't use P.O. box, so that pretty much solves that. They're gonna have to fix that shit.
There's over 16 people who are registered to vote at this address right here. And would it surprise you if inside of this building alone, there's 15 people registered to vote, yet all the windows are boarded up?
Oh, one of the business was Duckett's, and I never saw anybody go in or out of there.
15 people are registered to vote, and a lot of them voted in the 2024 election.
Doesn't surprise me. This is California for a reason.
Do you think voter fraud takes place here in California?
100%.
And do you trust Gavin Newsom?
No, not at all. You could tell by the way he talks. He never wants to answer a real question.
Guy's fucking awesome.
Let's see, he calls ICE, basically calls them out, calls them terrorists. In some ways, I kind of hope he runs for president. That means someone else is going to get governor, and if he doesn't make it as president,
Are they still in California? Holy shit, this guy sounds like he's from the, like, where I am, from the South.
political career is done. I don't see him winning. I really don't.
Right now in Polymarket, he's leading for the Democrats as far as who's going to be the next nominee.
Yeah, Kamala was leading. Look how that went.
Do you think California should require voter ID?
Bro.
Do I think that voters should require voter ID?
Yes.
No.
Why not?
Why?
How come you need an ID when you go to the airport?
I don't know why you got to do that either.
So do you think it's possible to have fair elections here in the United States if people don't prove who they actually are by giving their ID when they go and vote?
No, that's too. I can't even answer that.
You don't
I'm like
know.
this. If you here, you can vote. It's just too much paperwork.
Too much paperwork.
Yeah, too much bureaucracy. Too much.
Yeah, I don't think people like this should be able to vote, honestly. And people who don't know how the fuck to work the system to be able to vote, no.
Stuff. It's just too much.
So when you go vote, you don't want to show your ID?
Nah. Heck nah, for what?
To prove that you are you.
I mean, I'm me anyway. I'm me anyway.
So no ID?
Nah.
What if I wanted to vote on behalf of your name?
Why would you want to do that? Tell me why I want to do that, and then I
See-
can make a decision.
See, that's what I was saying. Why would you want to do that? Just be honorable. You can't just use my name. That would be dishonorable.
What if I wanted you to vote Democrat and you're a Republican?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, yeah, that's a point. But I still ain't approving of it.
We headed to the next location, and it was the exact
See,
same
I like
thing.
that
where
guy still,
tons
though.
of people were registered to receive votes from a P.O. box.
So we were wondering, do these people live here?
I don't know.
Like, are they living inside the post office?
This is the address of the post office, right?
Yeah.
This isn't like their mailing address. That's like their actual like registration address. Do you see ballots that have like PO box on them and things?
Yeah.
And it's not a problem if someone is registered here to receive their ballot, but if this is their primary residence, that is a problem. And
Yep.
that's what
Can't
the
do
case
that.
is for all these people right here.
And it's an illegal registration based on state law.
Because this leaves a lot of leeways for people to
Yeah,
vote.
who's gonna check? It's not up to the post office to check. They just run the post office. They just make sure the post office runs. It's not their fault if somebody higher up is fucking up to do some illegal shit.
Fraudulently, whether it be ballot harvesting or them just voting on behalf of somebody else.
It was just an oopsie.
That's the thing
Oopsie
that we have the
boopsie.
greatest concern, right? 23 million ballots go through some
We could
process.
overlook
This is
it.
one
It's
post
just a little
office
whoopsies.
in one city, in one county, in our entire state, right? So it just has an exponential impact when you add up all the little small things that are going on.
As you can see, there's a lot
A
of
lot of
issues
little
with these voting rolls
oopsie-poopsies.
and a lot of inconsistencies. And one of these inconsistencies is people over the age of 100 years old that are eligible to vote. For instance, there's a lot of people over the age of 125. And in this video, we just filmed around a 15-mile radius. So imagine what it's like all across the state of California. And now let's go see if there's actually 126-year-olds voting in California.
Are you Doris?
I wonder.
She's right here. Yes.
Hello, Doris.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
We're just going through the voting rolls here, and we're just confirming anybody who's above the age of 100 years old. And right here it says you're 126 years old.
No, you got the wrong house. That's a lie.
Are you Doris Wood?
Yeah, but you got the wrong house. I'm Doris, but you got the wrong place. That's the wrong information. All that stuff. No, that's wrong.
Oh, here, I can show you if you like.
No, It's just that it's wrong.
How come you think here in California they're just messing up on all these voting rolls here?
I don't know, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it says you voted in 51 elections, Doris.
No, not me.
Really?
I'm not no 100-something years old.
I know.
I said I wasn't.
I just want to make sure you're not 126 years old.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it really does say you're 126 years old here.
No.
Says,
That's crazy.
Who lived this be 126? That don't even make sense.
I know, that's what the Secretary of State says.
Well, the Secretary of State is wrong.
Okay, well.
Put it like this, I was born in 1940, so you figure that out.
All right, Doris. You have a good evening. All right, so this lady's name's Virginia. She's 125 years old. She's voted over 55 times, and she's
They vote a
active
lot.
on the voter
Made a whole-
rolls
they
here in
vote in
California.
every
Let's see if
election.
she's home. Hi, how's it going, sir?
They love it.
Doing good?
No, I'm cooking.
Okay, well, I'll be quick. I'm just looking for Virginia,
So is Nick Shirley. He's cooking too.
125 years old.
125 years old.
Yeah, she's registered to vote at this location right here. Is Virginia here?
Yeah, but she ain't no 125 years old.
Really? How old is Virginia then?
80.
80. Well, here on the state
80?
of
125?
California, she's 125 years old. And she's voted in 55
She might as well be 125 years old. You know what I mean?
elections.
Nope.
Is there another Virginia?
No, not here.
Virginia,
10-4. It's the only one in the whole world.
only one in the whole world. Well, I hope she's voting good, because... So she's not 125?
No.
No. Well, is Virginia doing good at least?
So. Well, she's a year younger than me. And I'm
Oh,
82.
damn.
Say,
Okay.
Go tell Newsom. She ain't 125. She 81.
Okay.
Awesome. You do that. Have a good one.
Do you see what the problem is? Every location we went to inside this video, there's something wrong
Yeah, and nobody knows what the fuck anybody's talking about ever.
with the voter rolls. Whether or not the person's 125 years old, it actually doesn't
That's
matter.
why they want
the
it.
part that matters is that the information is wrong on the person who's supposed to be voting here inside the United States. And the other locations, people aren't supposed to be living inside of PO boxes, yet they are registering.
Nick Shirley is rigging elections. He's rigging the Democratic elections. He's making it so Democrats will never win again. Apparently, they've only been winning because of the shit like this.
vote out of PO boxes, making it impossible to track back who that person is to see.
Dude, it's just like, we're never getting out of this shit, man. We're never there. It runs so deep. It's everywhere. Like with the Epstein files and then the fraud that's everywhere, and the Democrats are pretty much stealing every election. It seems like I don't even see regular Democrats voting, and anybody voting in any elections really, other than like presidential elections. It's really only elections anybody ever cares about. I don't get it. I do not get it. This one's gonna hurt me deeply. It's gonna cut me deeply. It's real close to my heart. Nux Taku's career might be over. I love that Blue Jew. I hope he didn't do something to actually end his career. I hope this is just clickbait.
And even more importantly, this also had an age verification. You needed to click that you were 18 plus to join this channel in the server.
Well, when an individual is in your server self-admitting over and over and over again to the fact that they're underage over and over and over again, it's really hard to use the excuse of they clicked the button that said I'm 18 and up. This video is going to be a tough one, not only for the viewer, but for myself, because I'm going to have to be censoring things in a very particular way to make sure that this video doesn't just get deleted off of YouTube. I don't think we need much more of an intro, so I'm just going to jump into it. The person we're talking about today is Nuxtaku. They are quite a large YouTuber. They have a 2 million sub channel as well as a separate secondary one, Nuxanor, with 930,000 subs, which they post more frequently too. Nux is now known for doing like political commentary stuff as well as drama commentary stuff himself, but he got a pretty big start on YouTube being the hentai guy. Now,
I had to sit down for this one because this one's gonna be rough.
recently, just a few days ago here, content creator Nicandros here ended up posting a video exposing Nuxtaku's EPI Empire Part 1. Now, in this video, he makes some pretty heavy accusations towards Nuxtaku. Number one, alongside Nuxtaku's content creation being centered around hentai, including lolly, Nicandros alleged that Nux was very firmly aware that he...
For people who are like super against all of the porn and stuff and like gooning and everything, they sure do get into a lot of gooning stuff on the internet, like communities based around not safe for work content. Like, I don't know how you get into that, man, and it doesn't interest me. Even like when I was on Newgrounds, that wasn't what I was on Newgrounds for. I was playing games. Like real games.
Had a audience that was very much 18 and under, or I should say 13 and up, that Nux went out of his way to give, you know, information in regard to what he was covering, the hentai, things like that, their titles, how to find them, etc., which in turn was enabling access to this content for those children. But additionally, that he catered his content to a younger audience on purpose. And finally, I would say...
it doesn't matter if you're saying like, here it is, don't go to this, man. Here's it, like... trying to help them in a way, trying to be some kind of teacher, some kind of guide, to be like, here's all of the things that you should avoid. Well, you can't do that because you're not these kids' parent. It's not your job. And that's just fucking weird, man.
Most egregiously, Nicandros goes into Nux's Patreon Discord server, which you could enter for a single $1. And in there, he finds a 14-year-old kid that was a part of that server that engaged in NSFW content and made it clear multiple times that they were a child to the other people.
Why was there NSFW content in there, and what kind are we talking about? Apparently hentai stuff. That's not okay. If it's some like some fucks and some shits every once in a while, I don't think that that's that bad.
In the server, so much so that the other people in the server engaged with that information. Nux also engaged with that individual so much so that it makes it really hard to argue an idea that Nux didn't know that this was a child on his server. Now, I'm kind of giving a shallow overview on purpose here. I highly recommend that you check out Nicandros' full video if you have the time. I'll leave a link in the description below. But because my video is coming out a bit later after the release of his, I also wanted to include how Nux responded to these allegations and accusations that Nick put forward. His response is really peculiar and genuinely worrying. So with all that, I'm just going to walk you through some of the main points that Nicandros puts forward, like the ones I just mentioned, and show you guys the evidence that he provides. First things first, Nux did start originally as an anime channel, and then the hentai thing took off, blew up in terms of viewership, and he really ran with it. I want to show how that kind of gets introduced here.
In 2015, he grew slowly and steadily, but in late 2019, everything changed.
I also made a video on YouTube that has since been removed, the biggest flexes in hentai. And the degeneracy began from there.
In the video, Nuxtaku reviews and recommends 10 hentai animations, 7 of which were categorized as lolly, meaning they contained underage characters.
And this bad boy, very not chill stepfather, has a very not chill relationship with stepdaughter. Again, most people would think this is weird, but hentai clearly knows better.
He was already showing adult content to a 13+ audience, and giving them advice on how to find adult content online.
The reason why I bring it up here is because without putting text on the screen is nearly impossible to remember. Therefore, since the plot, and it's a goddamn plot, deep thematic and philosophical undertones here, I believe anyone who wanted to search this bad boy up without said title, because I was a douche for not putting it on screen, would just simply look up Time Stop Hentai. Far easier than very understandable. A lot of y'all sent me screenshots on Twitter, link to my Twitter in the description, of the top recommended searches on the hub of prawn. And lo and behold, much to my surprise, WTF fanbase, one of the top hits is Time Stop Hentai.
So not a great start. 7 out of 10.
It's pretty funny, but unfortunately, children were involved, so you don't get a pass.
That lollipop kind of stuff, for those who don't know, that, like Nick Andrews said, includes children in a sexually explicit manner. And additionally, I don't even think Nick Andrews points this out, but it's very clear that Nuxtaku is very much in touch with the fact that the content that he puts out and the information that he puts out surrounding this hentai content he's covering ends up getting dispersed by his audience. It's very clear. The whole point of that second clip is him talking about the fact that the type of content that he was talking about, this like time stop shit, was showing up as the top search result on this huge prawn site. I think that's important in establishing the fact that he was very much going out of his way to include this information for his viewers to go and seek out if they were interested in it. But additionally, the fact that his fan base was absolutely in droves searching up the content that he was sharing with them. And this series, just to start off, when he started going into this stuff, like he's showing here, millions of views, over 5 million in total with all of them. Nux was also deleting the videos shortly after they were releasing, or I should say privating them, unlisting them, and whatnot, to avoid YouTube, going after them for community guideline issues. Almost like YouTube understands that, when you have an age base of like 13 and up on your platform, that you could run a risk of having
don't have an age base of 13 and up. And if it ends up being like that, you can't do content like this anymore. If you got an age base like me, it's fine as long as it's not the lolly shit. I don't like the hentai stuff at all, actually. I just like the political stuff and the actual anime reactions. And honestly, if it doesn't get worse than this, I'm probably not going to change. I'll probably still watch them. I know, it sucks.
Content like that being engaged with by that age range.
Because these videos were far more TOS risky than his usual content, Nuxtaku would soon delete them after uploading to avoid moderation consequences.
The greatest plots in hentai too! Yes, this video will be deleted soon after uploading for the sake of my channel's survival, but a promise is a promise.
Furthermore, Nuxtaku gets so popular off of this kind of series of covering hentai on
course
YouTube that he starts collaborating with a bunch of huge YouTubers. People like Moist Critical, for instance, where they're covering stuff and doing like reviews of sorts of this content in videos.
Often involving characters of a questionable age.
There is an asshole door, so it's a woman with her ass out, and this one's like an anal key. And Ash Ketchum is well, at least a young Ash Ketchum seems to be approaching it.
Oh no.
And he uses what's called the fist dash, it seems, to gain entry.
Oh wow. Is this made for you? Yeah, I think it's got now. So now he's sprayed her with the spray of doom.
Oh no. She's quivering.
Oh my god! What? I didn't experience that!
Nuxtaku also deployed a very aggressive clickbait strategy. Showing some bikini ladies wasn't enough. He needed cropped hentai, bestiality, and lolly.
Now, over the course of my video here, I might be including...
I'm a big fan of Oompaville too. Like the kids stuff. If somebody tried to show me something like that, I just, I can't. I'm probably not going to hang out with people who are into that kind of stuff, even as a joke.
Including clips here and there of Nicandros showing some of the other YouTube videos. And if I do choose to include them, you're going to hear the type of content that they were covering in these YouTube videos. And it might make you wonder, same as me or just about anyone that's seeing this, how the fuck was this showing up and okay on YouTube? Like, how did Nux not get blown off the face of the platform immediately when he started rising in popularity? The short answer is I have no fucking clue. It's mind-blowing that Moist Critical as well, who's
algorithm manipulation. Learn how to fight against the algorithm. That's exactly what he did. He knew all of the tricks to get around everything, but he also understood that things will change in the future, so he has to take down the videos.
Also very popular at the time still, and all these other big names are covering this stuff and it's getting millions of views, and for some reason nothing is being done about it. Like, you don't have to think very hard to go, okay, we're looking at, you know, sex content on YouTube. There's always going to be the risk of kids watching it, so you usually want to veer away from that stuff. There's a good reason why it's in policy to, you know, you don't really get to talk about this kind of shit.
I don't even care about that. I mean, I understand kind of where he's coming from, where it's like, so YouTube doesn't allow this, but they didn't do anything about it. Okay, that's weird, because usually they're about not showing content like that because of children. Even though I disagree with that. I think that sexual stuff on YouTube should be fine as long as it's not outright, like, straight up porn, you know? And even sometimes it's pushing it. And kids just shouldn't be allowed on YouTube. That's how I see it. But that's just me. Also, no matter what, lolly stuff should not be allowed.
Furthermore, he's covering Lolly, which in my opinion and most others is much worse. I just genuinely don't know. I don't know why nothing was done at this time, or that maybe it wasn't being monitored, or people just kind of accepted it as being okay. Admittedly, I wasn't on that side of the internet. Usually I'm not. I guess I'm a bit more of like a prudish guy, but I don't enjoy absorbing any of that content in like a public setting. Like, even on the Discord for my YouTube here, it's an 18+ Discord.
I don't even like to consume that kind of content in a private setting.
But I don't want any NSFW content on it. Number one, I just think it's weird to engage with that content publicly. But number two, there's no definite way that I know for a fact that everyone in the Discord is actually 18 and up. So why would I run the risk of exposing any like kid to that shit? Sorry, it's been a bit of a tangent. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. If you guys have any theories as to why this kind of went on. But kind of jumping into that, you know, he was also covering Lolly stuff. This is his stance on it. Nux has an interesting take when it comes to this content.
Nuxtaku has consistently denied being into it, but he also claims he doesn't believe enjoying it makes you a pedophile.
There are 3 levels here, okay? There's lollies, which I have absolutely nothing against. I don't think anyone has anything against lollies, okay? Like Chibidoki or Megumin from Konosuba or Gura. Nothing has anything against lollies. It's lolly that's the gray zone.
Nuxtaku would begin to signal anti-lolicon sentiments in 2022, causing drama between him and Rev Says Desu.
They couldn't believe the guy who has used lolly-related content in his thumbnails, videos.
I mean, what is... I'm gonna have to look up the definition.
And the same guy
I'm gonna ask Grok, though, what the definition of lolly is, so I don't get anything weird. Oh, definition of lolly. Okay, is a term that originated in Japanese anime, manga, and otaku culture, is most commonly used in 2 related but distinct ways. As a character archetype, most frequent everyday usage in anime communities, a female character who has very young, childlike, or prepubescent appearance, typically short stature, small build, flat chest, big eyes, and overall cute, kawaii features that make them look like a little girl. The character can be canonically underage, but very often is not. Many are hundreds of years old, adults who stopped aging. Yeah, okay, so it can be in a non-sexual context. I'm fine with that. If there is no sexual context to it at all, I'm fine with it.
It was open.
But honestly, even if they were adults, I don't want sexual. I'm a bad judge on this, I guess.
Befriended lolicons, followed and
I don't like
praised
porn,
lolicons on Twitter.
but I'm not trying to
could
watch
be making
porn.
Such a statement under
And I don't like to watch porn, so.
glaring hypocrisy.
I don't like Rev, but they are making a sound point. Despite his history, in early 2024, Nuxtaku had no problem calling Vosh a pedophile for flashing his lolly horse folder on stream for a couple seconds. One of the more shocking images in Vosh's folder depicted a lolicon VTuber that Nux had reacted to.
16 is high school. No! Meet Natsuhiro Matsuri, extremely wholesome VTuber. Also, she likes talking about lollies. Nothing weird here at all. Oh God, this rabbit hole goes deep.
I think at best, that last clip you just saw was an underwhelming reaction to hearing and seeing that someone said, and I quote, "I'm into 10 and 12-year-olds, I agree." Sorry, what? I don't even really know what to, I feel insane. I know I'm going out on a limb here, hot take here. I think if you're attracted to minors, drawn or not, there's something wrong. Now, based on this entire video and what Nicandrous provides, I'm almost more so leaning on this idea that Nuxtaku isn't into it himself, but I do think that he saw dollar signs and saw the view count go up when he was covering this stuff and calling it crazy and weird, but you know, when you start including the
I think it was solely the dollar signs.
Name, the title.
He doesn't practice what he preaches, or at least he didn't. Maybe he does now. From what I can tell now, he does mostly practice what he preaches. But I don't know. There's a lot of video left. I'm gonna have to see if it gets any worse. If it doesn't get any worse than this, I'm still on board, but I'm a little shaky.
Where to find this stuff, and you know, showing this content on a platform where there are a lot of children watching ends up being a real bad look. And on top of that, you're not condemning this kind of content, you're propagating it. I'm going to be saying this probably a lot in this video, but again, I am curious to hear what you guys think. Next up, Nicandrous alleges that Nuxtaku was curating his content, his thumbnails, packaging to appeal towards a younger audience, copying the style of thumbnail of Game Theory, PewDiePie, these other really big channels, which in turn would have pulled in younger audiences from.
Yeah, but also they're not really supposed to be for kids either.
Those content creators at the time and push them towards his content.
He would imitate the thumbnail style of channels like Game Theory, which is very popular with children, and make lots of other content trying to attract MatPat's attention. He eventually succeeded and collaborated with not just MatPat, but also PewDiePie and Markiplier. Except he didn't. These are just misleading clickbait thumbnails. However, if you were a fan of one of these massive channels with very young audiences, and you were tricked into clicking on one of these videos, your recommendations would fill up with stuff like this.
Now, in my first few watch throughs, I was going to disagree with this point a bit more, because in my head, when you're kind of like, you know, copying the thumbnails of the people around you, given me, for example, shout out more Pegasus, you're doing so because that is what is working in the algorithm. That is what people are interested in clicking on. And the more I thought about that,
yeah, I don't give a fuck about the thumbnails and clickbait, especially if you're like watching a creator. Then you just, I don't give a shit.
The more I realized that MatPat and PewDiePie and Markiplier had successful thumbnails, or let's just talk about Game Theory in general, they were successful. I was clicking on them, but I was also a kid. Matter of fact, most of my friends enjoying any of the content from these creators that he has brought up, that he was also, you know, pretending to collab with and stuff, I was watching all of them as a kid growing up. So as much as I just want to say,
to be fair, I was watching them from the time I was 16 to like 24. So I was also an adult.
Well, he was also copying these things to maybe just be more successful in the algorithm. At the same time, I have that bias of, well, I watched them. That's why I knew that they were successful in the algorithm. Moreover, different thumbnail styles and different...
Like, I was watching Game Grumps too. I definitely don't think kids should have been watching Game Grumps.
You know, content styles are more successful in different parts of YouTube based on the audience that you're going for. In which case, I think Nicandrous is making a pretty good point here. Now, he makes a lot of good points in this section about how it's appealing to a young audience, but I want to focus on this point that he brings up directly in regard to a TikTok trend with this Animal Crossing like thing that was made.
The most popular video on his second channel was a reaction to a viral Animal Crossing adult animation with very minimal censorship. There are small blurs around the genital areas, but you could still make out what's going on. What implication? And what's funny about it? When this animation came...
Yeah, I think he was trying to make the point that like, look what YouTube is allowing on their platform. But that, I already knew about that, about his take on that. And it's just really stupid. Like, you're just trying to get yourself kicked off the platform. Why?
Out, it became a viral meme, and a bunch of kids on TikTok were, as Nuxtaku says, doing the things or doing the dance. In other words, publishing media of themselves for anyone in the world to see, in which they are replicating moves from an adult animation they had been exposed to. Very understandably, some people considered this to be a risk to those children's safety.
This is currently the most concerning trend on TikTok.
Is it really the most concerning trend on TikTok? There's literally a trend right now called Devious Licks, where people break into schools or are in schools and steal stuff like hand sanitizer and fire alarms and toilet seats. They just rip them off the toilets. That is a trend on TikTok right now. But no, this is the most disturbing trend on TikTok. All right, dude.
Gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't know how you get defensive and push back on someone saying, hey, it's pretty unsettling and probably really bad to have a bunch of children mimicking a prawn dance. I'm struggling to see how you can justify being defensive about that.
He's regularly uploading.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, but that's a weird stance to take right there.
Content sexualizing children's cartoon characters onto a 13+ platform. Characters designed to appeal to children and more likely to be recommended to children. If you look at this video's comments, you see dozens of children explicitly reporting their ages, many of them being under 13. These are not adults pretending to be children as a joke. I've seen what's on their channels. They are uploading videos of themselves onto their channels and then leaving public comments under Nuxtaku's videos for anyone in the world to see.
Now, this I think is one of the more concrete things that Nicandrus points out, which is that there is a
I don't really care about that unless he is garnering that community. If that just accidentally happens to be the community that you get, I don't see that being his fault. But if you're like feeding off of that community, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
plethora of not even having to
I'm kind of leaning toward him being, I think he kind of was doing that.
The Wayback Machine, but of people saying, hi, I'm a 10-year-old watching this. Hi, I am a literal child watching this content. And in my head, I'm very curious where you go about justifying creating content like this on a platform where there are kids at the bare minimum self-admitting that, hey, they are children watching this content. How do you justify making content when you know that that's happening? And if that isn't the case, if you don't know, how would Nux, as the content creator of this stuff, with what we're seeing comments of children saying that they're seeing this, and he just pulled up a few, how do you not know? It comes off to me as almost an intentional ignorance to this fact, or as an intentional pushing it out of the mind and ignoring that aspect of it to just focus on, well, I'm making this and I'm an adult and I'm, you know.
It's the internet, it happens. That's probably what he was thinking. And I would just be deleting those comments out. I'd be pushing those people out of my community. Anytime I see comments that's like a little kid, if I'm doing that kind of content, I don't really give a fuck. If there's a little kid, I'd just be like, what are you doing here, man? Like, you should be watching, nothing on the internet. Go play outside.
I'm only making this with the express intent of only sharing this around with adults, but that still to me is such a hard sell.
Thousands of comments like this scattered all over Nuxtaku's backlog, some new, some old, but many of them are from children who are still minors. If you look at the audience retention graph, you can see that barely anyone is watching this video for Nuxtaku's commentary. All of the attention is hyper-focused on the segment where the adult animation is shown. Who do you think is watching it over and over again? Any adult could just go and watch the uncensored animation elsewhere. However, to the children who cannot access adult websites, this is the most easily available and the least censored version of the animation that they can find. Here is a comment from a child saying that they can't access the uncensored animation because of parental controls.
Now, this is speculative work, but for Nicandrus's credit, I can't really think of another reason. Like, yeah, that is the sexual part, and you are left to wonder, well, adults, they know where to find this kind of stuff. In all likelihood, you'd just be jumping on Twitter. Hell, you might not even have to search and it would fucking come up. But for kids, yeah, if they somehow have access to this kind of content, it's barely...
Honestly, he shouldn't have been I'm fine with him making content like that. Should have been posting it on something like Rumble. Shouldn't have been posted on YouTube. But that sweet, sweet $sign. Or posted on, like, I don't know, fucking Vimeo.
really blurred like Nicandrus is pointing out and whatnot, why wouldn't they just be engaging with these videos and just running it back on these little pieces of clips that they're getting to see through his content? Curious to hear if you guys have any other thoughts or like point of views as to why else that retention graph could be like that. Now, to kind of hammer this nail on the head, Nicandrus also shows a couple of reasons that he believes that Nux fully knew that there were children watching, specifically at the bare minimum 13 and up, and shows multiple different ways how he recognizes this in his own content. First off, he has a disclaimer in these videos at the time saying this video and my entire channel is rated PG-13 and should not be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 without direct parental consent.
That's not PG-13.
Doesn't come with the description. I would know he wrote that himself, or someone on his team wrote it if he has a team working with him. For me, that's fucking crazy. Next example, Nux, while in a video with...
It's PG-13 because there's no direct nudity. Like, kids can watch rated R movies on cable, right? Because it's all censored.
With other people, he had asked for, you know, fans to send videos in. He had a fan, a child fan, that sent in a video of themselves.
Despite requesting NSFW content, the announcement does not list a minimum age. So Nuxtaku was giving a financial incentive to minors to find the worst NSFW content they could. He would review these submissions a month later in a video with Oompaville and Iron Mouse.
I've never even pondered the thought that we could have Lolly and Guro and Bondage all in one thing. That's amazing.
Oh my god.
Among those submissions was a video that one of Nuxtaku's child fans had recorded of themselves.
Oh, what?
Bro.
I don't even know what that was.
That was some kid just sent you a video of them shitting and then shooting a dog with a Nerf gun.
It's not CSAM. It's some little boy farting into their phone camera. Then they shoot at their dog with a Nerf gun. There's no nudity, and you can't even see their face. However, they are clearly a child, and based on the size of their hand, a very young one at that.
Now, there's going to be a bit more of Nux engaging with content where you would have to just be scratching your head wondering about how you wouldn't stop to think that, hey, maybe this is a child. For example, he was reading off Reddit posts from his...
And also, getting that from a submission and reacting to it to millions of people, you're just going to get more people sending that kind of stuff in.
Reddit that was completely unmoderated, and I'll just let the clip go.
Please forgive me. Stop sending Gentai. Why? I already lost No Nut November. Half of my class saw Aqua's butthole on my screen. To be fair, mad respect for sending Aqua's butthole, and your class should be thankful.
The OP of this post was 12 years old. They are literally talking about a class in that post. There is no reason not to assume they might be a minor. And had Nuxtaku checked their profile when this screenshot was taken, he would have seen this comment. This child was not a one-time poster. Between October 2019 and August 2020, they made 160 posts to the Reddit.
I guess because it was unmoderated, he might not have seen that comment, although it's still a stretch. And 146 posts from a single 11 to 12-year-old child is horrific. Again, and I'm just going to keep repeating this, I guess, I don't understand how you make content like this and don't expect that this is a possibility that kids are going to engage with the content and you don't take any steps to prevent this. He made a subreddit dedicated to sharing this kind of content and talking about money, and he had it unmoderated. There are kids literally commenting that they are 10, 11, 12 in this Reddit and nothing's being done. Like, I don't even know how it doesn't cross your mind. Now, there is so much that I am glossing over that, again, I encourage, if you're thinking, maybe this is a bit shaky, you should go and watch this full video. But I want to show you guys towards the end here, this private Discord, this Patreon only Discord server that was dirt cheap to get into. That was so cheap to get into that a 14-year-old was able to enter.
I'm not surprised at all that their unhinged behavior. What were those children doing anyway on YouTube live stream? Comments clearly meant for adults. VTuber community is mainly adults entertainment. That's kind of where I'm at on it. But he also did say that he was 13 and up. He was PG-13, which I guess kind of, but not really. It's really weird. I'm still kind of on board with Nux right now. Nothing's really made me fall off. But like, fuck, this shit sucks because his content definitely is not like that anymore.
And this 14-year-old, I wouldn't say sexually, but was absolutely groomed by the adults around them and the other people a part of this Discord. I'm going to show you guys some of those clips leading into, recognizing this person's name is Red. That's how Nick Andros addresses them in these. But I want to show first a clip that Nick Andros found in regard to Nuxtaku and his stance about, children on Discord, young age, and like content creator Discords, things like that. Just really sets a good stage here.
The biggest shock to me to this day entering the broader commentary sphere was the dangers lurking around every corner in regards to children. Children are not safe on the internet. I only became chronically online after high school, but I couldn't imagine what it would do to me if I was in some YouTuber's Discord server at the age of 12 or 14.
You couldn't imagine. You don't need to. Red joined the server on September 7th. On day 1, they openly declared themselves to
Man, you wouldn't want me in a Discord server when I was like 12, 14. I would have been a fucking disaster, dude. I would have got that shit banned. I would have got your whole Discord removed. I was a degenerate. I wasn't doing like crazy sexual stuff, but I would probably end up being one of the very first swatters because I was retarded.
14 years old. They would later claim to be 15 multiple times, but as they openly stated, they were lying about their age. Red was born in 2004. They had turned 14 soon before they joined the server. The Discord was a pretty small clique, and soon enough, basically everyone on the server knew that Red was underage. Despite this, Nuxtaku made the NSFW channel for them a month later, and within a year, they had posted 242 messages on the channel. There's also an instance where another user pinged Red into the NSFW channel. As far as I can tell, this behavior was not punished.
Now, Nick Andros had actually reached out to me, and we ended up going through some of these Discord logs where he literally just pulled them up from the server. He didn't have to archive these messages or anything. He could just search them up.
You would have posted tentacle memes 100%. Why you gotta call me out like that, bro?
And find them.
I was on 4chan when I was like 14.
And show me what he was talking about. If you guys can think back to the Ava Chris Tyson allegations, which Nick Andros kind of touches on in this video, when we were dealing with, having to put our brains together and look at, the density of messages and these kids saying what their ages were during the Ava Chris stuff, we were looking at that and going, well, it was close enough to these kids.
I was on 4chan and Newgrounds. My brain was broken.
Saying, what their ages are and them engaging with this material that Ava Chris Tyson more likely than not must have known. If you compare, like the density of messages and these people interacting with like Ava Chris Tyson or Jimmy at the time, it is much worse. It is like magnitudes worse with this Nuxtaku server. It's a much smaller group because you did have to pay, albeit like $1 or $2. It's a much smaller group, and pretty much everyone in that Discord seems to recognize and address Red as a child, making jokes about it,
really
commenting
weird.
about it, and shortly after, they're talking about Red or talking about their age or anything like this. Nuxtaku is showing up. Nick Andros in his video further shows that they were in Discord calls together. It gets to a point where it is...
Man, you know what I would have done immediately? Talked about it on my YouTube channel, like, hey, why the fuck is this guy got NSFW in his Discord? Which I guess is kind of what happened. But I would have been doing it immediately, man. Like, why is there a child in here? Red flags.
Very, very difficult to give Nux benefit of the doubt that he just didn't know what was going on. But
I
even
think
if
he
you were
still didn't.
to, further than that, which I would say is the best case scenario, this is one of the most egregious lapses in moderation and using your basic thinking skills that ends up resulting in a child having...
Because like I don't pay attention to my Discord, and I could see how he wouldn't be paying attention, and he only replies to every once in a while, or replies whenever he sees something pop up in a notification. Because I get like 1 million replies from the same 5 people in the Discord that I'm in, and I do not pay attention to them. I swipe away. Every once in a while, I'll see something and I'll reply to it, or I'll post something in there.
Like truly a traumatic experience by being a part of this Discord in the same way that Nux was just talking about in that.
Yeah, I would have not allowed a not safe for work. That not good.
Clip. And I'm not just saying
It
that.
always leads to bad.
I'm going to show you later on what Nick ends up pointing out after talking with
Oh,
Red.
no.
Before I do, I just want to show you a few more examples that Nicandros had brought up, showing these people interacting with this person, knowing their age, but also the type of content that these people were showing this child.
But did Nuxtaku know that Red was underage? There is no message of Nux acknowledging Red's age. However, it is extremely unlikely that he didn't know. In this conversation from earlier, where Red says they're lying about their age, Nuxtaku shows up soon afterwards. In this conversation, there's some kind of an ERP going on in the general chat, which is interrupted by Red. Red is told not to get involved because they're underage. After Red says the conversation is making them gag, another user jokes, "Oh no, we better stop if we are gagging a minor." Red pinged Nuxtaku soon afterwards, but Nux didn't show up. This is Mintheus Mouselord, or Mitochondria, or Mito. According to Nuxtaku, they were the best poster on the NSFW channel. In this conversation about BDSM, we can see Red asking Mito to send their presentation on sex toys to other users. Note, I just made the presentation because Red was clueless. After Bex mentions having a high tolerance to weirdness, Nux shows up to say, "Proud fanbase." Gremmen asks Mito to send the presentation to Nux. I think that Red already sent it to him. No, I told ya. Never sent it, but I can now. What are we sending me? A sex toy presentation. Why? Lol. We needed to explain sex toys to Red. Nah, it's fine if it's not sent to Nux. Already did, Mito. I'm not doing honest descriptions on all Mito's sex toys. Few minutes later at 2:16, Nux says,
I think I'm just gonna delete Discord.
"Very cool, Mito. Very cool." Nuxtaku has now received a direct message from a minor on his server.
It scares the shit out of me to think that a bunch of people in my Discord could be talking about some stuff like that. I would shut it down immediately. I would not be able to handle that.
Containing a link to a sex toy presentation that was made for them. What adult is clueless about sex toys? To believe that Nuxtaku didn't know Red's age, you'd have to believe he missed all of the instances when their age was mentioned. You'd have to believe no one told him Red was a minor in chats, VCs, or DMs, and
also, is Red actually a minor? Like, that's something that I kind of need to know. Wait till you know about the Furry Cub Mafia. I don't know what that is.
But Nux didn't realize it from their voice when talking to them in VCs.
Now, the second half of this huge part towards the end here is him showing how Alan is very much connected to Nuxtaku, showing up in podcasts with the guy, as well as him repeatedly engaging with Red and showing him content that is absolutely horrific for a child and knowing he is a child. I don't think I need to show all of it necessarily. Highly again recommend you check out Nicandros' full video. But I went ahead and I spent $1 on Nuxtaku's Patreon. Now, I just did this a moment ago and I ended up screenshotting it. Turns out when you cancel a membership on Patreon, it doesn't let you like keep the perks that you had when you bought the membership. When I tried to connect over to the Discord, this is what would happen to my Discord. You find yourself in a strange place. You don't have access to any text channels, or there are none in this server. And there wasn't any new servers showing up in my server list on the left-hand side. So at the bare minimum, false advertising. I did not get Discord access for $1, but that is the Discord access that anybody else was allowed to for just spending $1. An NSFW channel, as well as a bunch of people being super cool with the fact that you're under the age of 18. And I reached out to Nicandros because he was in that Discord server, and I found out that it appears that Nux has just been disabling new people from joining the server, but apparently it is still up and existent. But now the last bit of this video, Nux kind of addressed the release of this video.
It's basically Lolly Shorts Degens, but you furry, and they are basically part of the Discord moderation team and rated a Safe for Work Roblox Discord server. They got away with all of it. That sounds like typical Roblox internet bullshit. Yeah. What does it have to do with Nux, though?
And he had some interesting things to say about it. First, I want to show you this clip, but then we're going to jump to the video that he kind of talks about Nicandros' video in.
People are accusing you of being a pedophile because of a Discord. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that a bit today. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to be rude. You know what? We'll save it for when I talk about it. It might have been one of the most disingenuous, slanderous campaigns ever, but we'll talk about it a bit. It's unbelievable, to be honest. It really is. It's like, oh, a guy got groomed in a Discord, which is fucking awful. Don't get me wrong, and I'm really sorry if I contributed to that at all. It's really fucking awful. But I really didn't contribute to.
They also enforce Cubs furry rules and not safe for work being a must on being allowed on the Discord rules. It's basically same shit. Server was for kids. Dude, when you really look into some crazy shit with Discord, there's like this, what is it, 764? It gets wild.
That much at all, to be honest. Like, if we were being honest.
So sorry, just the tail end of that. I didn't contribute to it much at all. If we're being honest, I didn't contribute to it, if we're being honest. I don't know what that means. But also at the beginning, he said that people were calling him a pedo. And that is true. There were people that had seen clips of Nicandros's video that were kind of talking about it, and they were saying that Nux was a pedo. But interestingly enough, you might have noticed, even in all the clips that I showed you from Nicandros's video, he didn't once, not a single time, make that allegation. Because he isn't making that allegation, and Nux really thinks that he is. You're gonna notice that Nux is painting this video in a very different light than what it truly is. And I think this is in an effort to the people.
He does that sometimes. Unfortunately, you can't be doing that whenever it's a serious situation like this with serious allegations.
His fans that aren't going to watch it, or a lot of people that aren't going to sit down and watch the entire thing. He is going to try to manipulate what is going on, what the public thinks about this video, or more specifically, what the public believes this video to be. It is in my humble opinion, after truly seeing this video multiple times, that Nicandros's point is that Nux made content that catered and appealed to a younger audience, a minor audience. He shows supporting evidence to these claims, and he shows that at the bare minimum, Nux has engaged in such a gross negligence that it is very difficult to even agree with it just simply being gross negligence. And it really veers into, there are lots and lots and lots of minors that have ended up searching and finding this sexual content because of Nux's content, and he just doesn't care. Now that's just a clip, but I want to give you guys a bit more information.
I think he does care, but I don't think that he thinks that it's going on, which is not good. But what's going to happen? It's not really bad enough for anything to happen to him. He might lose some viewership, some subscribers. What are we going to do about it? Is he going to get banned off of every platform? I don't know. Definitely shouldn't be running Discord. I'll tell you that much.
Bit more to what Nux was saying about Nicandros.
I don't think anything's going to come of this. I think you're just going to get people that are just going to decide they're not going to like him. And more people know about him now, I guess.
Video. To start things off, he put it on a video on his second channel here called It Backfired. He fucking found out. And it's at the tail end of this near 40-minute video with a thumbnail in regard to Hassan. Almost seems like he's just kind of like hiding it in the background here. But let's see some of what he has to say about this video. Mild correction, he starts talking about it around 24 minutes.
Because I quite literally...
Yeah, he's probably talking to his loyal fan base. That's why he hides it in the video.
Evolved, I've grown. I'm pretty much anti-porn in general now. My entire stance on all that changed years ago. However, I never endorsed any of the weird shit that I would comment on. I would make fun of it, all right? It was never an endorsement at all. And these people are all liars and disingenuous.
Now, really quick, I just want to address that point, that he never endorsed it. My brother in Christ, you literally went out of your way to talk to your viewers about the fact that you were going out of your way to include the name and information and how to access a majority of the content that you were covering in your videos. You don't have to just full chest say, I'm into this shit, for that to count as endorsing this content for your viewers. Maybe he's going at the angle of like, I'm not endorsing it, being like, I don't think that this stuff is okay. But when you're giving your entire audience access to the material, you're really starting to stretch what you're meaning by endorse here.
The new angle that...
Yeah, it's kind of like what he was talking about earlier with Chris Tyson's situation, where Chris Tyson was basically like, well, I have this link to this video. Don't click on it. Here it is. You definitely shouldn't click on it.
People are taking is that I was grooming people in a Discord. A lie. I've never groomed anyone ever, and they've never had any evidence of me grooming anyone ever. All right, so
I think Nux is willingly ignorant to have a case of deniability in the court of public opinion, even if it gets exposed, so he can deny it to the court. It's always with these people. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to come of this. I think it's going to kind of just coast along as it's been going. The people who've been watching them, it's not bad enough for them to stop watching them. And he doesn't really collab with anybody anymore. And his content did change. Oh, boy. I don't know. Honestly, I'm still going to watch him, probably.
It's a lot of implications that get thrown out.
Now, you might have trouble believing this, but Nicandrus actually also doesn't accuse Nux of being a groomer ever. As a matter of fact, at this specific part during the video, Nicandrus actually defends Nux from a separate grooming allegation of that individual Alan that I was talking about. So actually, Nicandrus literally does the opposite of what Nux is claiming he's doing in this video, which is kind of interesting. Nux is now going to play a clip that he thinks is the most egregious, or he describes himself as like the biggest clip that he had seen going around about this video.
The NSFW channel wasn't there from the start. We can trace its creation to this exchange from October 15th, 2018, where we can see this user who from
2018, let's put it in perspective, 8 years ago.
now on will be called Red, repeatedly asking Nux to create it. If we look at the time and date of these messages, the
So, for the record, this Discord server was made in 2018. It was a Patreon-only Discord server. All right, it was not a public Discord server. It was Patreon only. All right, anyway, for donors.
That is a good point. Patreon only, and it only cost $1 to get into it. Only a single dollar, which is a pretty low bar of entry.
In response to this, Red raised their Patreon pledge, and Nux gave them a thumbs up.
All right.
For a brief moment, let me take you to August of 20...
This is the guy that made the video. If you want to watch the full video, you should go watch it, by the way, if you want. If you want to watch an hour and a half of this guy calling me a pedophile with zero evidence that I'm a pedophile, you can watch this video. That would be great.
I think Nux is being way too emotional about this, but he's not wrong. There is no evidence of being a pedophile, but also I don't think dude was calling him a pedophile. But I also think that Nux probably thought that dude was calling him a pedophile.
Go do that. All right, I'm not trying to.
Nux is being a fucking moron. This whole thing, Nux is being a moron. But I know he's a moron because he's the J word. That's all I can say about that.
Hide that.
Again, another interesting fact, Nicandros never, and I mean literally never in that video, calls him a pedo. So again, just not true. And this is how he's portraying the video.
Yeah, I don't think Nux is lying. I just think he's retarded.
To his fan base. He's like, yeah, for sure, go and check it out, although it's all of these things that it literally isn't.
I will not be spending 4 hours reacting to an hour and a half long video calling me a pedophile again and again and again for things I've already addressed.
He's never once ever addressed any of this information because none of it had come out.
Actually, that's not true. He did address this in passing. I remember hearing about him talking about it. Not the whole situation with the underage, just with like all of the lolly content, hentai content. The Discord thing, that's a new thing. But that's all. Also, I don't really care about it. Because, for one, there's no evidence it was actually a child. And people are fucking weird, especially when it comes to not safe for work. I think that Nux was an idiot for letting a not safe for work happen in his Discord server. Nux's internal process confirming itself as one. He can't even deny it. We should review his most FAP2 hentai / games. Any bets on most of it being lolly Shota related? I don't know. I don't know if he was actually fapping to that stuff, which is almost worse in my opinion, because he's using it for like humiliation rounds is what he was actually doing. I can kind of understand what he was doing with like, check out this crazy content. I used to do that when I was a kid, like show my friends crazy content to try and get a reaction out of them. That's what I was getting from him showing content to that VTuber and Oompa at the same time. It's like that kind of energy. The unfortunate part was allowing that kind of weird talk in the Discord. As soon as somebody starts talking like they're underage, get them out. They got to be out of there. It doesn't matter if they're paying you.
out yet.
And he was actually...
So to be clear, this is also incorrect. This is not when I was being pressed for my past content. This was literally a video that I made talking about my 10 years on YouTube because it was like my 10-year YouTube anniversary. All right, this was not like a response to drama video, as far as I remember. Maybe I'm mistaken and I'm thinking of the wrong video, but that's what I thought.
pushed into making a response.
So, as you could see, I addressed many times that I regretted the fact that I would make lewd content and shit back in the day. To be honest, I've mentioned that multiple times. Literally.
Yeah. I don't care about the lewd content. I don't care about the Discord server. What I do care about in this situation is that Nux is a fucking idiot and was gooner brained.
Called it out in the past, but anywho, moving on. And this video was it was like a 10-year anniversary. This was not like some apology, whatever.
Red joined the server on September 7th. On day 1, they openly declared themselves to be 14 years old.
I didn't know about this.
They would later claim to be 15 multiple times, but as they
I didn't know about this.
openly stated,
Yeah.
they were lying about
I don't think that he knew about this. I don't think he was paying attention to his Discord.
their age. Red was
Oh, so they were lying about their age.
You're right. They were lying about their age. And the point of that is, as you can see here, until I tell you my actual age, I'm just going to say I'm 15, even though earlier they said that they were 14. That's them lying about their age. They were lying about it being a year older. And this is them lying, saying they're 15. I think he knows this. And I think that's why he just kind of like grazes past this.
Look, man, I don't know how a minor even got into this Discord server because as I'm sure he mentioned this in the longer video. I'm not trying to say that he tried to slander me on purpose over here. But this was a Patreon server. For those of you that are unaware, Patreon servers are inherently 18 plus because if you want to become a patron, if you want to join a creator's membership as a patron or provide membership as a creator, you must be at least 18 years old or have permission from.
If you want to create a Patreon account, you need to be at least 13. If you want to join a creator's membership as a patron or provide membership, okay. So you can be free on here. Okay. As 13, you can be free. But if you want to pay, you got to be 18. Okay.
Parent or guardian. All right. Quite literally, that obviously didn't happen. This was inherently an 18 plus Discord server. So if someone lied or stole their mom's credit card or their mom let their kid join a Discord server from a guy that was making more, adult focused content on my YouTube channel, that is the parents' fault.
So I don't think anyone's pushing back on, this kid found their way onto this server and that's not okay. I think people have an issue with the fact that they were talking about their age and the fact that they were so young was so talked about on this Discord. Well, if everyone knew that everyone was supposed to be 18 up at this time, how come nobody did anything about it? And how come somehow in this small little, Patreon group, he's talking about, it was Patreon only, so it must have been, smaller and whatnot. Not even Nux saw that Red was on this server. Not even Nux saw that Red was talking
I don't think he did.
multiple times about the fact that they were so young. I don't think you can really hide behind blaming the parents here. Matter of fact, I guess we should be asking the question too, how come nobody else on the Discord, we have to presume, shared?
Most anime hentai enjoyers can deny being into the real thing because they find it gross and only care about pure women in real life, and they understand it's fiction, much like violent horror, gore content in video games. Yeah, I can get that. I think, though, what Nux more was doing, so, like, when you're doing the humiliation rounds with this weird content, you're sitting there watching it, you're looking for it, and it's in this weird mindset of like, oh, what the fuck? But you're in it for a long time, especially when you're making content around it. You have to look at it multiple times. Not good. Not good.
With Nux the fact that there was this fucking child on the server. How did nobody see an issue? Or is Nux potentially lying about nobody?
I don't think Nux was lying about knowing. I think that he just garnered an audience of freaks. And honestly, people who pay to be in a Discord server for not safe for work content, those are freaks. True, he's getting off the shame shock for the laughs with friends. If they are into it, it's whatever. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't think that he meant for children to be involved. He's a fucking retard. And I don't really care that much. I'm probably still going to watch. I don't really care about his political takes that much. Sometimes he reacts to crazy political events, and I like that. I usually just watch him for the anime. The anime content's fire. But I've been falling off here recently anyway. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I used to watch Destiny, right? Not for his political takes either. I watched Destiny because I liked where his personality was when he was... How do I put this? He was faking his personality, basically. It was before all of the cuck shit. As soon as all that stuff, I was like, okay, all right. And then it just kept getting worse. His mods are to be blamed for not kicking them more than him, to be honest, on this Discord. Yeah. True. But also, I don't think you should have not safe for work on your Discord at all. Honestly, I'm leaning more toward now, at least, deleting Discord. Not using that shit ever again, because it's just breeds toxicity. Especially if you're like me, and sometimes I just fall off of certain things. So I would just not pay attention to it, and some weird shit might happen. And I don't want that.
Bringing this up? I don't know, but are we just also assuming that everyone here that was a part of this Patreon actively engaging with Red, with them talking about their age, with them engaging and saying, hey, don't be a part of this because you're underage, when they're literally erotic role-playing in the general chat of this server? What are we doing? This comes off very clearly as a very panicked Nux. He really seems to be freaking out here, and he is deflecting in ways that are only going to be working for his core audience that is not going to focus on
That's what
the
I'm
details
saying.
of this.
Yeah.
I am genuinely...
His core audience, they're still gonna watch. I'm probably still gonna even watch, even though I'm like, man, this is fucked up. But it's not fucked up enough. And I'm a small enough creator that I can say that.
Really disturbed by his response here. I think that maybe my bias has gotten into my head with what I've seen so far, but it is really hard for me to find Nux to be anything other than disingenuous in his response to Nicandrous here. Moreover, just his...
I don't know if he's attempting to be disingenuous. I think he's just being overly emotional. Because he is freaking out. Because he might actually get canceled off of some platforms that make him money.
Response to these claims. He's redirecting guilt to other parties like the parents of this individual as opposed to taking any sort of accountability. And every time he almost takes it and he's like, yeah, you know, these kinds of things are bad and I'm sorry if it happened, when it's so very clear that it happened. And I think he's going out of his way to intentionally act like he's not for sure so that he can still claim this absolute ignorance and viciously gross negligence. Again, very curious to hear what you guys think.
And even more importantly, this also had an age verification. You needed to click that you were 18 plus to join this channel in the server.
Well, when an individual is in your server, self-admitting over and over and over again to the fact that they're underage over and over and over again, it's really hard to use the excuse of they clicked the...
I gotta say, still, was the person underage? That is definitely a factor. Because you can say you're underage, are you really? Because there was a lot of steps put in place to make sure that the person wasn't. But it was also steps that could be easily bypassed if you had a shitty parent. Like, oh, he likes this cartoon man. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll give you this money so you can be part of this community. Instead of giving you Roblox, Robux, whatever. You're not playing Fortnite. You're actually talking to people. You got friends. Cool, little Jimmy. I'll give you $10.
Button that said I'm 18 and up. For instance, I only advertise my Discord server as being 18 and up. We don't have NSFW content, like I said, but I just don't want kids running amok. We have a role in the Discord that you can assign yourself that is below 18. If we find anyone assigning themselves with that role, they get banned from the server because, believe it or not, they can end up hopping in. They can end up clicking on the link that I've said, hey, you have to be 18 up to join this, and they can deceive our Discord and try to get in regardless, which is why you moderate it, why you don't just post this kind of content on it, because you run this risk, especially when you have as large of an audience as someone like Nux does. So again, this just comes off as just bullshit excuses. Now, after this point, he kind of repeats himself a little bit and then shows like, oh, PewDiePie was covering this also terrible anime thing that depicted adults engaging with children in a bad way, a graping way.
I don't care what PewDiePie did. You shouldn't be deflecting like that using PewDiePie.
And said that it was a trend at the time. And he is right. I mean, interacting with Shadman on Twitter was also relevant at the time, and it was a trendy, popular thing. Now, I will say, across the board, yeah, probably wasn't a good idea to make content like that, especially on a platform like YouTube. PewDiePie's video about this was 10 years ago. And yes, he did react to this one, but it was a literal one and done, which again, still not great. Whereas Nuxtaku was doing this content literally up into 2022. Little over 4 years of making content like this. I don't really know if you can compare those two things to each other. And I don't really know if you can justify, well, everyone...
So literally whenever the algorithm changed because he changed his content is whenever I started watching him. Okay, I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Reacted to this one particular egregious one when you've got ones of like monkeys doing this to children. And when you're also covering them in the amount that you were. You had a series dedicated to doing this. Just comes off as like...
Shadman's arrest was 5 years ago. Time flies. Bro, I'm 30 now. I'm an old man. Time really is flying. I remember that. I didn't feel like an old man then. I feel like an old man now. I've got a cowboy hat and a beard and I'm going bald. I was cute 5 years ago.
Well, other people were doing it, so it was cool, but they weren't really doing what you were doing. And I think as much as you can regret, you know, doing this kind of stuff or feel bad or, yeah, I'm not proud of what I was doing in the past, I don't know if that is necessarily just the thing that absolves you of something like this, especially when a lot of this information, like in regard to the Discord, hasn't been out yet. I don't think you get to walk away from all this new information by saying, well, you know, I've addressed, I regret that time in my life. I don't think that's the be-all end-all response to this kind of thing. And curious to hear, again, what you guys think about that. But as of right now, that is the only response I believe that Nux has really given it. As of right now, Nicandrus actually mentioned Nux.
He'll probably just mention it in passing that it was a thing that was happening, and it won't be really talked about again. And people just keep making commentary videos about, remember this thing that happened? Remember how nothing was ever done? Because nothing's ever done. And honestly, if nothing is ever done, why would something be done about this? This is just kind of like a fucking non-issue that nobody's going to care about, even though it does suck and it is kind of egregious. But at least he got called out and maybe he'll do something to fix this. He kind of did fix it anyway already, but like he deserves some heat for this, I guess.
His response and has talked about it. Apparently his video is supposed to be 25 minutes longer, but he cut off a good chunk of it, so he will be making a part 2 talking about all of this other information and kind of responding to Nux's response. But with all that being said, that brings this video to a close. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new.
I'll give it a thumbs up. It was some pretty good coverage. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If Nux makes his way back into my timeline again, I'll probably watch him, honestly. So, gonna get into some Asmongold Mizkif drama. Apparently Asmongold destroyed Mizkif's legal case. I'm very curious to see what's going on with this. I missed this a couple days ago. It was church day.
Asmongold is absolutely going to destroy Mizkif in court, and now we have comments that Mizkif has made about Emiru, which could end up leading him into more legal trouble. Of course, we're going to get into all that today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney over here in Asia, and this is a fast facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. So let's...
Out of everything that's going on in the world, at least Mizkif is going down. Fuck, man.
jump right into it today. If you don't know, Miskiff is in his quote unquote demon mode, and he's gone off suing absolutely everybody, including one Asmongold over here, who is a defendant in this lawsuit, as well as OTK.
He might be one of the biggest retards of all time, second to Johnny Somali and Vitali.
King and Mythic Entertainment and Emaru himself. So Emaru also named.
It's just like he keeps making the wrong decisions every single time. I'm gonna move myself down.
As a defendant. Now, today we're going to be going over specifically the motion by Asmongold. So we're going to go over Asmongold's motion to dismiss. There are other counts in this lawsuit, so it's not just
Asmongold doing a motion to dismiss would be a blessing for Miskiff for all of this to just go away.
Asmongold. All of these parties have different counts against them, and they do need to knock those out one by one. But Asmongold is trying to get himself removed from this, and he very well may be successful in that. Now, of course, Emaru is still party to this and still very much involved in this. And Miskiff over here, the plaintiff, making statements about Emaru that, especially in Texas, as we've covered other Texas cases, can get you a temporary injunction, which may end up where you can't.
Asmongold doesn't even need a lawyer to own Miskiff. Asmongold could literally hire Tectone to be his lawyer and still win.
Speak about them online anymore. We've discovered that is indeed a very easy thing to do in Texas, right? In certain counties in Texas. And indeed, that might be something that Miskiff ends up with if he keeps speaking up about Emaru like he did recently, and issuing implications about her. So let's jump right into this. First of all, this is from a court document that was filed right in the beginning of February. The fun thing about this in this case, and this is a public document, anybody can look these up. These are available to quite anybody with this case number. It's a public document. One thing I do like that was corrected here is, that
would be a conflict of interest, however. True. Still, I think he'd still win.
The parties that were put accurately, the defendants are accurate in terms of Asmongold and Emaru, but Mr. Miskiff, who tried to hide his identity there, was kind of called out by Asmon and said, hey, if you're putting my information out there in the lawsuit, I'm going to correct the record and get you in the lawsuit. So what it is a motion to dismiss pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12b-6. So I'm going to get into the specifics here. So Miskiff filed this defamation claim against Asmongold. So specifically, he's a count of this. One of the counts of the lawsuit. This lawsuit is made up of several counts. There's other claims against
suing OTK and Mythic is probably the worst decision out of all of them, because those are actual organizations where I know that he did some shit for himself to get sued. Like, why are you trying to sue them? That's so dumb. He's an emotional freak is what it really is. And he just had too much money and too many lawyer friends to know it's good for him.
It's OTK, Mythic, and Emaru, but all of this stems from online commentary.
This is what happens whenever you're friends with Hassan Piker. Your brain is just gets fried, or maybe your brain is immediately fried as a streamer, and then those fried streamers gravitate toward Hassan Piker.
By Miskiff about him and Emaru's former relationship. And the problem with this lawsuit for Miskiff, this is something that I identified from the beginning, is that many of these comments and admissions were made by Miskiff himself. And this is something that Asmongold brings out beautifully in this response and in this motion to dismiss. So, for example, here, when you look at the actual document, and this is stuff that Asmongold and his legal team put together, when Miskiff is crying about being called aggressive or, being called hostile, well, here's the exact quotes from Miskiff. Here's what Miskiff said: I punched holes in the wall or slammed doors in aggression. So he's calling himself aggressive.
He's just straight up a Pantera music video.
He then goes on to say, it's not going to be to go back to the place I once was. I was suicidal, depressed, and taking every type of drug possible to fix my brain. And in doing that, I hurt myself more. I was on steroids because I thought I would fix myself. I was taking shrooms.
Judge,
That's
jury.
Referring to, allegedly, it seems like psilocybin mushrooms, which are hallucinogenic, in case you don't know, every day to fix my brain, but that destroyed me. I tried acid, also a prohibited substance there, acid, and that backfired. In doing that, I know I effed up so bad and hurt so many people around. I lashed out. I was angry out of my mind. So in his own words, he was angry and out of his own mind. So commenting that someone is aggressive or angry or was out of their mind based on their own comments is not defamation. That's just stating the factual truth. And then he goes on to say, I did take steroids and that gave me...
You can't state the truth because it hurts my feelings. That's literally why he's suing, is because his feelings got hurt.
Saying anger issues, his own words. Once again, I said that if she goes after me, I will go nuclear. And that's exactly what I said. And that is what
feelings hurt.
And that is what is going to happen. So saying that he's going to go after her, right? So there's going to be retribution. There's going to be payback, right? That's fair game, right? Saying he's going to go and get some sort of revenge because he said it. And this is summed up. You can see here this statement by Asmongold's lawyer. Miskiff openly admits that he was violent, hurt people, lashed out, had insane anger issues, took a host of drugs, and told Emeru that he would go nuclear on her for publicly speaking about what happened. So saying, hey, look, this is all stuff you said, Miskiff. You openly confessed to your own actions. So any comments by Asmongold or anybody else on the internet about this is not defamatory. You cannot go and sue everybody who decided to play your own video or state your own facts. That's just not how defamation works. The other
or people who decide to insult you. You can't sue for people insulting you either. It was in past tense, not current tense. In the past I was means equals I am not at this moment, as usual understanding of the phrasing and logic.
big thing in the lawsuit, and this is a huge part of it procedurally, is Miskiff does not give any specific timestamps or quotes that are defamatory. So all he says is Asmon defamed me, and he links hours and hours of Asmongold videos without giving specifics. Now, look, I know a lot of guys love Asmongold, and you probably watch every video of his. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss you here. That's not me. I don't have time for that. Usually I have time for the clips or time for shorter videos that are processed, much like I have lives, and some people just watch the fast facts like this video, which is why I'm creating it today. People don't often have time to go through everything, but in a lawsuit, you have to do that. You have to say in this specific sentence, in this timestamp, this is the statement. You can't just link all Asmongold's videos and say, okay, somewhere in there he defamed me, go find it, court. That's not how it works in Texas or really anywhere when it comes to
good luck with that, man. Good luck going through Asmongold's catalog.
Defamation. And Texas law is pretty clear that that's not going to hold up when it comes to the burden of proof. And there was one comment about going to jail that he threw out there saying Asmon commented about him going to jail, but that comment isn't defamatory. Let's look at that comment real quick. And it was response to what is probably
that's a factual statement. I mean, he's saying that he's going to jail. It's incorrect, but it's still factual. It's not defamation.
Super chat or a member message. I don't know which platform he was on. They call it a third-party member message from his audience. You know, we'll just speculate as to what platform that was. But anyways, they were asking about whether or not Asmongold had any opinion on whether Miskiff was done. Cooked, one might say. And this is what Asmongold. I think that he should just take a break. Good advice, right? He should just try to legitimately just stop. I think he will continue spiraling, and I think it might have already reached that point, but I think it will reach the point where he ends up doing something and ends him up in jail, straight up. I really do think that he should take a break and calm down. So really, this is just...
He's right. He's exactly correct. And he should have taken a break and calmed down a long time ago, and he wouldn't have ever gotten himself into any of this mess. Now, his life is ruined because he's a fucking idiot.
Just advice. This is just saying, hey, look, you're spiraling, and when people spiral, they can end up in jail. That's something that happens. It's something very common. You know, sometimes it's something that's not that bad, and they, you know, end up pulling up after they run in with the law.
I'm gonna guess that Miskiff is gonna end up naked in the street, beating on cars and yelling about people trying to kill him.
Sometimes it's something that's very severe and wrecks their life, and you wouldn't want it to be something that wrecks your life. So honestly, this is advice that you might even get from a friend telling you, hey, pull up, you're spiraling, you need to do something different. And that's very, very much understandable. That is in no way, nothing about the statement is defamatory, says a lawyer. I would agree with that, not defamatory. Now, we have additional comments
Some good advice
just came out, and these just came here and were just played, and I'll play this video for you right now.
Ooh,
based
video!
on Miskiff saying he is now going to publish a book about Emeru and Relly Berli, about everything. So let's watch this clip here for a second and see what you guys
I'm sure that it's going to be completely truthful all the way through.
I'm writing my book. I'm literally going to write my book, chat, and it's going to expose everything. It's going to be...
He's not going to write it. You think he's gonna write it? It's gonna read like Junie B. Jones. He's definitely the type that's gonna get on meth, get naked like in some. I think he's already on meth, but I think it's Adderall. Get naked like in some of those Florida man cases and start assaulting people, especially cops, when shit goes out of hand. I think he's doing some Jack Doherty type shit. Jack Doherty turned out he was on Adderall too, and he was exhibiting a lot of the same behaviors that Mizkif exhibits. And I honestly think that's what's going on. And I think that's what was going on with Aiden Ross too. Like, I think it's a big thing with streamers who stream for hours and hours and hours.
Insane, by the way. It's already being written. I've already been writing it. I write down every single thing that happens to me and try to remember everything that's happened, which legit, I'm just probably going to go to 4chan and find out more that I forgot. It's going to expose everything. And in my book, it's going to be $1, and it's going to go to the National Rabbit Society of Humanity, and that's where all the money's going to go. Any proceeds. It's going to go to the National Rabbit Society of Humanity and Aerodynamics.
There we go. Okay, so now he's making jokes about the National Rabbit Society, obviously trying to harass Emaru there in regards to the rabbit allegations that he made against her. So obviously, when you look at that, when you look at the intent behind that, that is something, the implication is that he is going to use that to harass Emaru and to continue to harass her. And even he jokes with the donation about something that, once again, a reasonable person, anybody who's been following this knows
he's going to get himself put in jail.
That's about Emaru, right? That's obviously about her. So threatening to publish this book, we've looked at Texas. We looked at this case. When we're looking at especially the Tectone case. We saw how easy it is to get certain injunctions filed in Texas. And you could certainly go over, especially in the counties they're in Texas, and get a temporary injunction, because you can say, hey, look, he's harassing me. He's trying to continue to harass me, right? I don't like
trying to destroy my life, trying to release a book to destroy my life, specifically to do that. That's so fucking insane, dude. He is absolutely insane. One of the most retarded people I've ever witnessed on the internet. I love it. I love it so much. Absolute cinema.
I don't think that's productive. That's not good. This is bad.
This is ultimate entertainment for me.
You know, he could do whatever else or say whatever else, which could damage my brand online. Hey, that might be enough for an injunction in Texas based on some of what we've seen. So we could have
this is the kind of content I consume whenever I'm taking a break from the Epstein files.
Out here, if she pursues it, if she decides to go down that rabbit hole, no pun intended
Retards
there,
ruining
and
their
go
lives.
through that, she could get an injunction against Mizkif. So my judgment here is there's a high likelihood that Asmongold's motion is granted as to the claim of defamation against Asmongold. I think he's got a very, very strong case, and he made very, very strong points. So I think that Asmongold may get out of this lawsuit. This does leave the claims against OTK, Mythic, and Emaru, but some or all of those may be subject to arbitration. So they may be able to pull those into arbitration and slow this thing down. Arbitration being private, out of the public eye, and definitely something that Mythic and OTK would probably want. Now, if Mizkif continues to behave like this, right, I think he's just going to continue to be exposed as weak. His case is going to be exposed as even weaker. It's going to actually poke holes in his own legal filings, and he can dig himself into potentially deeper legal trouble if he catches an injunction over this.
He's definitely
which could
going in
last
debt
for a very long time. So that's my summary today. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll hear you guys on the next one.
Yeah, he needs to take a break from streaming, because like he is absolutely ruining his life just because he doesn't want to do anything but stream. Like, you could do anything else, man. You got money. You don't need any more money because you're not making any more. I don't get it. It's like streaming is a drug. I guess it's not really streaming that's the drug. I think clout is the drug. I think Pokimane is right about one thing. Cloud is a hell of a drug. But the only thing is, she's also on it. So I don't know where she's coming from. Okay, let's see what I got going on here. Hillary Clinton? No. Logan, blah, blah. Yeah. check this one out.
So a couple of weeks ago, I told you guys how Logan Paul had once again found himself in some hot water with the Pokemon and general trading card community.
I remember that.
Back in 2022, Logan started to be all about Pokemon, making a lot of content centered around it, while spending millions of dollars on cards and packs, even getting scammed himself along the way.
Oh my God, bro. G.I. Joe? G.I. Joe? G.I. Joe?
Well, you don't like G.I. Joe?
Long story short,
What's wrong with G.I. Joe?
he ends up partnering with some nerds to open the Liquid Marketplace. Eventually, they vowed to allow investors to purchase fractional shares of tangible assets like trading cards and other sports memorabilia, while using the blockchain
That's
to
definitely
execute
not
the entire
sketchy.
thing.
Now you can just buy a token on Liquid Marketplace to own high value, top tier assets that you cannot get anywhere else, right? Like these are,
And nothing will go wrong at all. Nobody will lose any money. I will not be implicated as a scammer at all.
the best assets in the world.
Now, the massive selling point, the enchiladas of the plate if you will, was this idea that Logan would be selling off fractional ownership, 51% to be exact, of the most sought after Pokemon card in the world, a PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator.
I will be listing this card on a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace. It allows co-ownership of top tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together. I'll be retaining 49% ownership of the card.
That sounds like some crazy, that sounds like pyramid scheme with an extra step.
So I won't actually have access to it. It'll be in our vault. But if I want to wear it out to fights or a Pokemon box break, or maybe even put it in a museum one day, the community can decide if we want to do that.
Now, years later, the entire Liquid Marketplace...
So it really just belongs to Logan Paul. You just gave him money to decide what he does with it.
Has completely
That's
fallen
retarded.
apart. Lawsuits have been brought to the table regarding the entire venture, but it seems to me as though Logan has essentially washed his hands clean of this entire thing, posting on Twitter that back in 2024 he repurchased the fractional owned portion of the card, claiming that this was substantial and consistent with the terms of the Liquid Marketplace. Logan then continues to talk about the platform as if he had nothing to do with the entire thing, which is awfully funny to me because on multiple occasions, he represented himself as the face of the Liquid Marketplace.
What's up, y'all? So you may have seen me introduce myself as a co-founder of Liquid Marketplace.
So hold on, let me get this straight. Let me figure this out real quick. Draw. Let me pull up my drawing app. No, I don't need no help manual. Okay, so you got right here. This is Logan right there, right? Okay. And so right here, this is a two-step pyramid. Okay, right here, you got Liquid. Right? And here, down here, you got the cards. You got the cards because they are under Liquid. And together, this is the investors. And together, we make up the community. How about that?
Co-founder of Liquid Marketplace.
And that is exactly why people were enraged when he announced that he would be teaming up with Ken Golden of the Netflix show King of Collectibles to auction off this very same card.
No, it's because I have the most expensive Pokemon card around my neck, and let's figured see I'd it. Superman. Oh my God. The one of one.
Where Logan would get this massive advance up front, as well as a piece of everything sold at said auction. Of course, this led to people saying, well, what the fuck happened to the fractional ownership? While others like my guy Rattle Pokemon here on YouTube also say that this card should have never been graded a 10, citing various issues with that grading, claiming that it allegedly got graded over and over again to eventually achieve the Holy Grail status.
When we have a high-profile item, an expensive item such as the PSA 10 Illustrator that was a 9 several times before it got a 10, that is not the case, even though this thing clearly is not a 10, in my opinion.
Now, I do have quite a few posts to show you guys today regarding this entire thing. Obviously, people have not been very happy with Logan Paul. But first off, I did just want to show you guys this update where he says that Liquid Marketplace has advised that unclaimed funds have now been released and can now be withdrawn. Sharing a link to the website that was previously unavailable, where I guess previous users can now
So
log
what are they doing? Shutting it down now? Doesn't work no more?
back into their accounts and retrieve the money they had spent over there, because as it turns out, I don't think these investors actually owned anything. Now obviously over the last month, Logan has been promoting the shit out of this auction, and he essentially blocks anyone who has anything negative to say about it. Much like this gentleman who commented on this now deleted post, where Logan said, "Goodbye my friend, what a privilege it's been to be the owner of the greatest collectible in the world. From Guinness World Records to WWE debuts."
So he owned it. And he sold it out from under everybody, and he's like, "Here's your money back, everything that you had in it." Is he actually going to give them their money back? Or is it going to be another zoo situation? What was it? The fucking zoo coin.
To national news.
That's definitely an 8.5 card. Yeah, if I took that to like some random shop, they'd probably tell me it was a 7.
This card and I have been on a generational run. Tomorrow night she finds a new home on Golden Auctions. And like I said, this guy got blocked for simply saying Liquid Fraction owners remember they once co-owned this Pikachu card, LOL. And this was the type of promotional material that Logan has been posting.
I spent $5.3 million on this Pikachu card.
Yeah. Co-owned it until he decided that he wanted to sell it. No matter if anybody else wanted to sell it. He was the majority owner, even though he owned 49% to make it seem like he was not a majority owner. But 49%, and then everybody else has to share the 51%. That makes him majority owner. Consider its age, it's in good shape with minimal wear, just natural age. Yeah, I don't think that a card shop would give a fuck about that. Maybe PSA would be different. I don't know.
Pokemon has outperformed the stock market by 3,000% in the last 20 years. Meaning this is now worth more than all of these watches, these cars, and probably this dinosaur. Because it is the only perfect PSA 10 Pikachu illustrator in existence. And now, I'm letting it go. This grail is going up for auction on Pokemon's 30th anniversary. The crown jewel of the highest grossing franchise in the world. Someone is going to own the Guinness World Record setting card that I hunted for years. It is the very best.
So yes,
nobody cares about
Logan
Guinness.
is really just doing his usual thing. We all know that he is pretty good at marketing, especially like outrage marketing, which I will show you here in a little bit. But obviously videos like this only added more fuel to the fire, which is why the guy literally always has his comments turned off. And so last night the actual end of the auction would occur, and of course Logan would live stream the entire thing.
Dude, everything sucks. Everywhere you turn, everything sucks. In every industry. And it's all these social media influencers, dude. They ruin everything.
Here is his reaction to someone bidding $12.5 million on the card.
The current bid on the illustrator, $12 million.
You also have to keep in mind that you're not just bidding $12 million. You're actually on a card. Because you're not just getting the card. You're getting the fact that you bought Logan Paul's card for one. And that it's going to be a social media phenomenon even if nobody cares about the Logan Paul part. Somebody on social media bought this card for that much. You're going to be famous just for that. You'll get opportunities just for that.
No way. No way. No way. What? No way. No way, bro. No way.
And he could use that money to pay back all the zoo people that he scammed. Because he only owes them, like, what, $2 million? Guinness also subscribes to the woke social justice warrior shit and DEI beliefs. It's not about records, just politics. Yeah, I imagine that's why they're not mentioned anywhere anymore. Like, nobody gives a shit except for, like, Mr. Beast.
One more bid to new record all time. 12.5 million. No way, bro.
So as you could tell by the way he said "no way bro" about 20 times there, Logan could not fathom such a number. And here is the moment where they would actually set a new world record, becoming the most expensive card sold at auction of all time, beating out some sort of Kobe Bryant card.
Ken's whole team. I think they did it. We now have the record. The most expensive trading card of all time. $13 million.
But hey guys, at least everyone that used the Liquid Marketplace and thought they would be getting a piece of this history can now apparently get their money back all these years later, okay? Who cares about inflation? Who cares that they were allegedly holding that money all of this time, you know, they couldn't even access it, to maybe, I don't know, invest in something else that might go up in value. You know, maybe they had a medical bill to pay, maybe they needed it to pay their rent, they're now homeless.
It seems that he decided he's going to sell the card, give everybody their money, and then the card immediately goes up in value when he tries to sell it because he's selling it. Dude, that is so scummy. That's straight up a rug pull.
Hey, at least my guy Logan is out here still.
He did a pyramid scheme, and then he did a rug pull on the pyramid scheme. Holy shit. He might be a genius, honestly. You know? I kind of respect the game.
Breaking world records, popping bottles of champagne, laying off the confetti.
Everyone's yelling at me. Party at the Golden House tonight. Oh, no.
And I have to say, guys, as time does go on and I get a little bit older, y'all know I'm pretty much like Unc now. I think I've sadly come to the realization that bad people do win and get away with things all the time.
Yep. Welcome to my world. I've been seeing this shit my entire life. Nobody ever listens to me.
Done yet? With this new bid, $13,144,000. I don't even know what to say. I'm just, it's incredible.
It sure is, Logan. And so eventually at
It
some
is,
point the bidding would actually go up to around 16.5 million. And at this point they would actually bring the guy up on stage who won the auction.
Of course they
My
did.
ambitions for the card is it's just a small story here. The real story is I'm on a planetary treasure hunt right now. And I'm on a quest to buy a T-Rex dinosaur fossil. That's on my list. I'm going to buy the Declaration of Independence, maybe from you. Yep. We'll find out.
Oh, this is crazy.
And I'm not stopping there. This was only the beginning.
I will say something else that I feel as time goes on is that I think there's something seriously wrong with people who are like already super rich. Like they have so much money that you could realistically never spend.
Who the fuck was that guy? How does he have money to buy shit like that? Like, even if... Okay, he's not going to get Declaration of Independence. But, like, he's able to just spend that much money on a Pokemon card. What is that guy? How do you become a guy like that? Indians, Chinese do that all the time regarding pyramid schemes and rug pulls. You don't need a higher IQ than 90 to do it. Just be dumb enough to not care about morality or honorable behavior. And be smart enough to know how to think like a dumb person and to manipulate them. And I would never do that. Dude, that shit's fucking disgusting. And I'm a Christian, and I know what that means for me.
It in your entire life.
Not doing
And they
it.
still just choose to be insanely greedy. Like, they just want more and more. They want to hoard the wealth. I mean, even my little dog over here is all pissed off. She keeps barking, "Fuck Logan," okay? I can understand what she's saying.
This is my brother, Tony Mucci. He's a film director, and we have been fans of Pokemon since we were kids. Oh my God. This was the right way to start the treasure hunt.
You just starting?
I just started it, baby.
Bro, that is so epic.
It's so
Just got the biggest
epic.
lick on this guy of all time. But I guess who really cares? It appears like two loser brothers spending daddy's money. Oh guys,
Yeah.
my brother here in the Pokemon onesie, he's a film director. He's deep. Fuck out of here, pussy.
I'm gonna buy the Declaration of Independence, maybe from you. Yep. We'll find out.
Bro, this is crazy.
I just can't get over it.
Go to Treasure
He's a film director. I wonder what kind of films. Like fan films on YouTube that get like 2,000 views.
Trove.com.
I'm so intrigued.
And follow.
I'm
at
so
Treasure Trove on
intrigued.
Instagram.
Of course you're intrigued, Logan. He just gave you $16.5 million for your shitty card.
This is bigger than the card. It's bigger than me. I don't even understand what's happening right now, but it's surreal, dude.
I think this is a great first acquisition for that treasure
I
collection.
fucking agree, man.
Oh my God.
I agree, dude.
You're a gangster. You are fearless, bro.
I'm sorry guys, but there is nothing gangster about spending daddy's money. You guys cannot convince me that this is not the face of an absolute lunatic. And here is the moment where Logan passes the torch.
Oh man, that was good.
This whole thing feels so incredible.
Plus, how much money you think Logan made off of the video and whatever sponsorships that he had during this?
Homoerotic for this man.
He definitely sponsored himself. See that Prime there? He definitely paid himself for that Prime.
Even this motherfucker hanging around in the background, Ken Golden, okay? He seems like a scumbag to me as well. You know, it's like when you got too faded and all of a sudden you're in a serious situation. And here's this guy's little treasure trove website. Like, does anyone on Earth realistically care to follow his little treasure hunt?
We'd love to be in the treasure hunt. Yeah!
And here is the moment where Logan receives yet another Guinness record.
That was a crazy random Dora the Explorer clip. I just watched the Dora movie, which, by the way, great movie.
For this card.
Logan Paul,
Logan, you get it.
Ken Golden,
Yes.
tonight you sold the PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card for $16,492,000. On behalf of Guinness World Records, I can now confirm you have achieved a new record title for the not only for the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold at auction,
Wow.
but also
So exciting.
the overall record for the most expensive trading card ever sold at auction.
Like I said, guys, in the year 2026, bad people just keep winning.
No way. Yes.
This isn't really a win. This is kind of pathetic. Everybody knows what's going on here.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You have any comment on that, Lola? Fuck Logan Paul. All my homies hate Logan Paul. Well put, my daughter. Well put. And of course, you guys know the shit show simply has to continue. And during this live stream, Logan Paul would announce his new company called Rip It. And honestly, to me, the entire thing looks like Liquid Marketplace 2.0. Like, oh yeah, we know we fucked up the first time. We know everyone lost money. They lost investments, allegedly.
He's just always opening up these. They always look like they are geared toward children, you know? They're always these like cutesy apps, and this one's like Pokemon and video games and stuff. Rip It. He's just scamming his moron fans and people who think they can make money off of them.
But don't worry, guys, we're gonna get it right this time. I swear you can trust me, I swear. The future of collecting starts now. Get VIP access to rip packs that represent real physical graded cards. Sell them for instant cash, store them in our vaults, or ship them straight to your door. I mean, guys, it eerily sounds like Liquid Marketplace. They even have this Rip It leaderboard so you and your friends can jerk yourself off about it. How it works: first you have to join the waitlist and refer us to other collectors to unlock bigger and better giveaways. So essentially you're enrolling all of your buddies. You know, I'm thinking about a certain shape. I think it's a pyramid.
Yeah.
Then you got to invite your friends, and each confirmed referral moves you up the leaderboard.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's like this entire social thing. It's a big old dick measuring contest. And the more friends you invite, the bigger your proverbial cock gets. Okay, you're coming
Holy
in there
shit,
standing on
dude.
the table, getting some damn Pokemon cards. And this is
Like, man, anything gonna be done, you think? Anything gonna be done? You think anybody's gonna take him to court over this? CoffeeZilla, he's already going to court over over defamation for something similar to this.
where you win big. You get cards from Logan Paul's personal collection, which we already know last time that, you know, didn't go so well depending on who you ask.
What is up, collector? Rip It is coming soon, and you're gonna want to be first in line. So we're growing our wait list for users to get early access and to give back to the day one collectors.
You're gonna want to get first in line, suckers. Because that means that you'll be able to put the most money in, you'll be able to put the most money in the longest. And then when I decide to sell everything, then I can give you that money back and make a profit.
to help us grow this thing. Top referrers will climb the leaderboard to get rewarded with things like the holographic pull from this first edition heavy pack, a $30,000 base set unlimited box, and a PSA 9 first edition Lugia valued at roughly $7,000.
I mean, this is almost exactly like the promo for the Liquid Marketplace. Not saying that's the exact same thing, but damn does it feel eerily familiar. And honestly guys, if you get yourself involved with something like this at this point, personally I do not feel bad for you. If this whole thing blows up in your face one day, I could really care less at this point. I mean, with the track record Logan has, like even the average 9-year-olds with their mama's credit card should know better.
For every milestone of users that we hit, we'll do giveaways with the entire community with things like this crystallized Daniel Arsham Squirtle figure. And my team and I are grinding 24/7 to bring this platform to life. So,
I'm gonna have to get in on this. I need that Squirtle figure. I'm probably not gonna get it, but I need to put it in all of my money so there's maybe a possibility, maybe a chance.
please tell your friends and get ready to rip it.
His team and him are working, guys. I mean, the whole thing to me is just an absolute fucking joke. It's like,
And it seemed like a kid's commercial.
you're spitting in the face of the people who believed in the Liquid Marketplace over and over again, celebrating this shit like he won the fucking Super Bowl. And now this morning, Logan would try to like clear up some of the bullshit, all of the complaints about the fractional ownership, where he says, "What an epic night, I'm truly grateful for the Pokemon community, Ken Golden and my team for making last night a historic moment for the hobby." Oh, it was historic, alright. You know, kind of like...
Yeah, for the hobby. This is not a hobby. This is like an investment for him.
Someone pulls off a massive bank heist y'all seen Ocean's 11? Allegedly, that is. To address concerns regarding the ownership history of the card, now for the facts. I had originally offered to sell up to 51% of the Illustrator card on Liquid Marketplace, but ultimately only 5.4% of the card was sold for about $270,000 in the summer of 2022 to fractional owners associated with LM. So now Logan's basically saying, you know, Liquid Marketplace didn't even make that much money, we didn't get close to the 51% number, which I believe at the time was like $5 million total dollars. In May of 2024, I bought the card back for the same price it was sold for per the terms of LM, and made funds available for users to withdraw. Which, if that is the case and only 5.4% was actually owned by the general public, the $270,000 number does look a lot less shady. And I get that there is like legal precedent involved, but now that Logan has made all of this money on this card, and who knows how much on the total auction, I really do think the right thing for him to do would be to take those portions of that money and try and return it to those investors in now the new proportion of the
because he straight up lied to them and rug pulled. At least they got their money, but like still, that wasn't the deal
that he made. Meaning, let's say he ends up making like 5 times profit on the entire thing, and let's say I personally put
that was the plan the whole time. And everyone should have known that they were not going to make money from this.
in $10,000 back then, well, Logan Paul should pay that person out $50,000 no problem. At least I think that's how someone would properly make this right. I was told that these funds were available to be withdrawn for approximately a year after being deposited in LM users' accounts, and many of the fractional owners did indeed withdraw those funds during that time. He says for reasons outside of his control, the LM site then went off.
Oh yeah, reasons outside of his control. Thought it was his thing. Thought it was his company. I started a company. That's what you said. And then out of my control, that seems to happen every time. These figures that were out of my reach, even though it was my company, did some bad things. It wasn't me. I can just pin it on those guys.
Fine.
And honestly, if you're working for Logan Paul, doing some shady shit like this, and that happens to you, also don't feel bad for you.
And that users could no longer withdraw their funds on the LM site, I personally paid to get the site back up. Users are now able to withdraw their funds, and they have been, at the aforementioned link. They were also notified via email. So how do you guys feel about that? I mean, like I said, whatever X profit he made from this auction venture, I really do think he should reward those initial like 5.4% investors with that. And at that point, I really do feel like all would kind of be right, at least in regards to that specific card.
Yeah, it's straight up a pyramid scheme with an extra step where people actually do get their money back, even though that's not the deal. They're investing in something. This is like they're owning a piece of something that's worth money, hoping that it goes up in value so they could make money off of it. And Logan Paul was basically like, no, this wasn't a money-making thing. This was a community thing. You're a part of a community, and you might win giveaways and stuff for being part of the community, not because you paid in to invest in a card. No, you're paying in to invest in the community. Dude, I'm so tired of these people that are constantly using their communities to make money.
Because apparently thousands of other assets were also sold on this platform. Now here is just the latest example of Logan pissing more people off, where he essentially claims that he is a far better athlete than Tom Brady or really anyone in the NFL.
I'm told that I'm being flown out to Saudi Arabia to compete in a Fanatics flag football game with you.
I'm
Saudi Arabia.
a little worried for you because I know
Worried for me.
Well, you're a good athlete.
They literally have slaves. Remember when everybody was freaking out about all the comedians going over to Saudi Arabia? You think people are going to freak out about Logan Paul? Probably not, because all that shit was manufactured and nobody cares about Logan Paul.
But you're like,
No.
I don't. These guys are another level.
I am the highest level. I am the level.
No, you're not the level.
I am the level.
You're a good athlete, but honestly, when I'm thinking of Saquon Barkley, and I'm thinking of like,
bro, can Saquon?
He's trying to play his WWE character.
Beckham and Justin
a
Jefferson.
flip off the top rope.
It's cute. It's a great, I love WWE. It's very cute. But honestly, this is like real football. This is real competition.
I was an all-state linebacker. I rushed for 1,200 yards, 19 touchdowns.
I mean, look, we all had a great pass. I did that. I won 7 Super Bowl. Who don't gives a shit? You know what matters? This game, March 21st in Saudi. I'm glad you're going to be there, and I'm glad you're finally going to participate in like a competition that matters.
This guy's insane.
No, but
here Logan would continue to show his
that was
arrogance.
pretty good burn.
Honestly, when I'm thinking of Saquon Barkley, I love WWE. It's very cute. But honestly, this is like real football.
But either way, guys, I do want to know what you guys think about this entire saga down below. Like I said, for me it's really simple. Just pay those people out who own the 5.4% within the multiplier that you got from the auction. At most...
it's just another on the stack of shit that Logan Paul keeps piling up. Yep, and that's how I'm going to put it. That's going to be the end of the stream for tonight. It's been a lovely time. Oh, the world's coming to an end, but at least I can watch content like this until it happens. I don't actually think the world's coming to an end, but it is eventually. Eventually it will end at some point. Maybe we'll all be dead. Maybe it'll be thousands of years. Maybe it'll be 1,000,000 years. Honestly, I don't think we got that long. I don't think we're going to make it out of this century, if we even make it out of this decade. I've got a wallet that you can drop some money into. That'd be awesome. Also, don't forget to like the video. I'll see you tomorrow night, same time, 9 p.m. Central for Baldur's Gate 3, and 12 a.m. for the Folly Show.